Good midday and welcome in. My name is Mitch Nellis, aka Thunder, here on The Fan. Thank you so much for being part of the family here on The Fan. And today we have a lot to talk about. It is Packers game day. The Brewers just got swept in Texas. We've got a lot more to get to. But I want to start with the words of one Chris Gizzy. Chris Gizzy joined the show, the Mason Crosby show, around 9:45 today. If you missed that, I implore you to use wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify or Apple or Odyssey or iHeart or more, and search the Mason Crosby show. Go back and listen, because Chris started with these words: sports, the greatest common denominator we have. We have more in common than we think. And we here, I'm sure, throughout Odyssey, but certainly I can speak for only myself, send our condolences out to Charlie Kirk's widow and kids. Send our condolences out to all those affected by the school shooting yesterday in Colorado. And as we do that, under the backdrop of September 11th, 24 years ago today, I remember where I was. I know many of us of a certain age remember where we were. And so it's just one of those days, and we should do this every day. Like, we shouldn't need an excuse. We shouldn't need an assassination. We shouldn't need a school shooting, and we shouldn't need one of the most horrific days in the history of our country on our soil to remind us. We should remember every day that we have more in common than we think, that there's more that draws us together as Americans, but also as humans, that draws us together. And so I just implore everyone to lead with kindness, to respectfully disagree. If Charlie Kirk taught us anything, it was that we should be open to having discussions with anyone, and that doesn't mean we are going to disagree. In fact, we can disagree vehemently. It's okay to vehemently disagree, but there's no place for violence. There's no place for all the hateful rhetoric in our society. So let's try to find that kindness. Let's try to find that common space, and that common opportunity, to realize we do, again, have more in common than we think. So with that as the backdrop, we welcome you in to Middays with Thunder here on 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan. We are free on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. We're on the iHeart app. We're also on YouTube. I don't have to spell YouTube, do I? YOUTUBE, like I do Odyssey. We all have YouTube on our phones. We all have it on our computers. And we are now live on YouTube. Our local programming is live. And so you can watch the whole show. You can watch parts of shows. You can watch shorts, highlights. There was a great highlight that I watched this morning of Tyler Dunn on the Mason Crosby show yesterday, talking about Caleb Williams and what a mess the Chicago Bears are. And that brought a little warmth to my heart as not a Bears fan, as a Packers fan. And we turn our attention to our Green Bay Packers tonight as the Packers take on the Washington Commanders. 7:15 kickoff. Yes, it's on Amazon Prime, but as we know, the local game is shown locally, so that will be on Fox 6 here in Milwaukee. Joining me today is the one, the only, the super producer, if we go back to his original nickname here on The Fan, Tommy Wirtz. Tommy, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right today. Feeling it like everyone else is too, but trying to do my best to, get everyone away from it for a little bit. Yep. And not to ignore anything. We're all feeling stuff, but I know that you're tuning in to try to get away. Yes. So trying to help and do my best as well during that time as well.
Yep, absolutely. And that's why I said what I said. And now moving on. And now we turn our attention to sports.
Yes.
It is the great distractor. It is the great uniter, because we all,
and the Packers play today,
right?
Too, right?
Everybody listening, all of our fans, all of our family here at The Fan are listening because we are all Packers fans, right? We're all Packers fans together. We're all Brewers fans together. We're all Bucks fans together. We're all Badgers fans together. I know we can split a little bit in our state with the Badgers and the Golden Eagles, and that's just fine because that's a healthy rivalry, and that's part of the fun is having rivals. That's part of what makes sports so much fun. So again, we turn our attention to the Green Bay Packers taking on the Commanders tonight. I'm wearing black because we're supposed to wear white. No, I'm not. I didn't even think about it this morning. If I thought about it, I would have put on a white t-shirt. Am I even wearing white underneath? Nope, of course I'm wearing blue underneath. Like that makes sense. Because it is a whiteout tonight. The teams will be wearing their white uniforms. So fans attending the game are reminded to wear their white attire. And I will remind people of that throughout the day. Because this is a gold ticket package game. So that means many of our family here in southeastern Wisconsin will be traveling up to the game. So I ask you on the fan talk and text line, that's the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line, 414-677-1250. If you're going to the game, are you wearing white? I just want to know if you are going to the game, or if you were going to go to the game, would you be wearing white? Or did you just get a brand new Matthew Golden green jersey or a Micah Parsons green jersey and you want to show off your new jersey? And that's okay. I'm okay with that. Like I want everybody to wear white, but I also want you to wear what you have and the gear that you've already made that commitment to. That's just one of those side dishes that's on my mind. But this is a big game.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't often see 2 weeks in a row of big games. I guess the Eagles could kind of say they're starting the season with 2 big games. I don't know how big of a game they would say home against Dallas is. Like, they should win that game pretty handily. It was probably closer than they expected it to be. But Philly expects to win the NFC East. It's always a rivalry game, so that makes it a big game. But I don't know if that was really a big game. Philly playing at Kansas City this weekend, so that is a big game. Of course, a rematch of the Super Bowl and a good measuring stick for Philly to do that on the road. But the Green Bay Packers facing a Lions team who they lost to twice last year. And I believe were 1-5 in their last 6 against the Lions, or 2-5 in their last 7, something like that. And now turn around and face the Washington Commanders, who went into Detroit and absolutely eviscerated the Lions last year in the playoffs. Next level. I mean, the Lions were just blown out of their own building. Washington went to Philadelphia, played in that NFC Championship game. It wasn't, I mean, Philadelphia owned that game. A lot of us remember that game for the tush push that Washington tried to time and jump over the line 7 straight times or whatever it was, where the officials had to come out and warn them that they might just award Philadelphia a touchdown if it kept happening. If I was Washington, I would have dared them on that. I would have tempted them. I would have called their bluff, because you can't just give a team a touchdown. I would have just kept jumping the line and running and getting half the distance. Okay, big deal. They're at the 1-inch line, half an inch, quarter of an inch, whatever it is. I kind of like the moxie that the underdog Washington Commanders brought to that. Obviously, I'm not going to like that if they do that tonight, because the Washington Commanders are in Green Bay. Our Packers 3.5-point favorites. Oh, I'm sorry, 3-point favorites. Our Packers now 3-point favorites at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The over/under up to 48.5. So we'll keep our eye on that throughout the show. And my question of the day that we'll come back to is, who will be the Packers MVP tonight? At the end of the game, who will be the Packer who had the best game? Win or lose, close game or blowout, whatever ends up happening tonight. Who are you predicting to be the Packers' most valuable Packer, most valuable player in the game tonight? Knowing that MVP is kind of a weird term, right? Well, I'm not asking you who the best player is. And a lot of times we want to vote for the MVP as the best player. And an MVP is really a season award. It's not a game award. They don't give the MVP. They give the game ball or player of the game. But I want to know who you think the Packers MVP will be tonight. In fact, I know Tommy's going to put that up on our Twitterverse, but I totally forgot to put that question up on my Facebook page, so I'm going to do that right now. Who will be the Packers?
Can I give you my answer right away?
Are you only if you feel strongly about it?
I feel pretty strongly about it.
Yeah, not a problem.
If the Packers are going to be victorious today, the MVP of the game is who's ever going to be playing right tackle in place of Zach Tom. That's what I had kind of said earlier today. And I think that whether that's Darian Kennard, whether it is Jordan Morgan, whoever it is, the offensive line was so noticeably good last week.
Yep.
And when they were
especially
rotating,
especially in the pass rotation.
when they were rotating guys in and out, you never even knew they were really doing that until it was the injury news of, hey, Zach Tom got hurt. In comes Darian Kennard. And again, like, they didn't miss a beat. And so I'm looking for that rhythm again from the offensive line. And if that is apparent and that is still present after maybe one, possibly two guys out on that starting offensive line, I think they're going to have a massive day if the Packers come out victorious.
We know that Zach Tom and Aaron Banks have not practiced this week. Is it your belief that Zach Tom will not play tonight?
My belief is, if I have a lean,
if he plays, would he be the MVP then?
I think it goes away a little bit then, because I have high expectations every time Zach Tom is out there. I will say that I think that Zach Tom will not play. I think if it was Sunday, I think both guys are in. I think Thursday, they're probably going to be cautious with both Banks and Tom. Again, just from lean and gut more than any reporting happening. If they are both in the game, I think the MVP then transitions to a different positional group.
Okay.
And I think you got a point.
Zach Tom doesn't play, you believe the MVP of the game will be whoever, whether that is Kennard, or I think it could be Belton a little bit.
Could be Belton, maybe as well.
You know, kind of like listening to you and Andy on Pack a Day Radio, that Jordan Morgan, that was kind of the one position he didn't play in the preseason was right tackle. So he would expect Kennard and then maybe Belton to get the snaps at that position.
Otherwise, I don't want to necessarily steal your thunder here, Mitch, but I feel like Josh Jacobs has to be, you got to keep an eye on him as well today, because last week, obviously that was the game plan for Detroit. It was Josh Jacobs is not going to be the guy to beat us.
Right.
Josh Jacobs is a game wrecker. No matter what. He's a captain. He needs to be that level of Josh Jacobs as consistently as he can be.
And I think he was last week. I mean, even though he only had, what did he have? 65 yards?
Something along those lines.
But he scored the touchdown, and it seemed like he took over the game in the second half. And the second half, you know, Jordan Love got them that lead. The passing game got them that lead, got them to 17. But once it was 17-3, the passing game didn't do that much, and it really became the Josh Jacobs game, especially in the second half. And Josh Jacobs was him.
3.5 yards a carry last week would be his career low, tying him back in 2023 when he had the 805-yard season for the Raiders. I think that Josh Jacobs is better than that player, and he is not going to have his career worst season. So I look at Josh Jacobs again to really just be an absolute menace today against Washington.
I guess the question there is, and you can put on your Commander's hat for a second. I know you're wearing your lovely Packers hat today, but if you want to put on your Commander's hat again, is there anything you learned from last week that the Commanders could also load up on Josh Jacobs, but then do something different or better in the secondary where they say, we're going to stop Josh Jacobs in the first half. We're going to make Jordan Love beat us, but then do something differently to limit the amount of receivers who catch the ball, the big plays, especially the big third down plays. Dobbs, Wicks, Golden, Reed, Kraft all made big plays in that first half receiving for the Packers.
No, and I go back to the conversation we had earlier in the week with you and me, I believe on the Mason Crosby show. Maybe it was on Middays with Thunder last week, but I think that Green Bay not having a number one wide receiver in their offense is a benefit, and it's more sustainable as opposed to establishing someone in their wide receiver room as a number one wide receiver. Maybe if they had a guy like a Justin Jefferson or like, an Amon-Ra St. Brown in like there is in the division, then they could have a better game plan to get that guy the ball. But I think the Packers have so much misdirection in their offense by not having someone on the field that you know is going to get the ball or that they're trying to get the ball, especially in passing situations. I think it's a benefit to Green Bay to have that luxury of the low floor, maybe not quite as high ceilings, wide receivers in their room right now.
I think that's, I think that's fair to say. And I think we'll, there's a lot to be, it's week 2, right? So there's a lot to be learned for our Packers team and the way that both Coach LaFleur and certainly on defense, Halfley with his defense, what type of adjustments, what type of in-game adjustments they'll make now with Matthew Golden on the team, now with Micah Parsons on the team. And I think we'll find that out as well. Who will be the Packers MVP tonight? 414-677-1250 is the phone number. 414-677-1250. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee and at Thunder MKE. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday all season long, starting at just $30 for your first year. That's like $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. We've got some late breaking news. Ryan Horvat might not be able to join us today. His son just called in sick from school. He's got to go pick his son up. But we are working on some other DC-based reporters and names for the show. Greg Bedard, national NFL reporter, used to be a Packers reporter, now based in New England. He'll join us at 1:20 in the 1 o'clock hour to give his thoughts from a more global view on what the rest of the country is looking at with our Green Bay Packers. We're going to talk a lot of Packers today. We're going to sneak in a little Milwaukee Brewers as well, sneak in some other thoughts and observations in the world of sports, because that's what we do here on Middays with Thunder. And then we should probably eat lunch at some point. My name is Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. He's Tommy Wirtz. We are Middays with Thunder on 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app. It's Green Bay and the Commanders tonight in a Week 2 matchup at Lambeau. After the game goes final, make the switch to the Green Bay football post-game show with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer and Tommy Wirtz. That's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan, and of course it's streaming. And I assume that's on YouTube too. Do you guys throw that up on YouTube?
Yeah, we had a good time last week. A bunch of people jump in there on the YouTube page.
Everybody's appropriate attire. I'm a little nervous for a late Thursday night that there could be a couple beverages before callers call in or people jump in on the YouTube channel or whatever that might look like.
I mean, I feel like the event of Green Bay Packer football, it doesn't matter
so that
when
starts,
you do that.
And then I think a nighttime game, maybe not a Thursday night, depending if you have to work on Friday or not, but a nighttime game, I think, definitely lends itself to a little more drinking. I have a conundrum, Tommy.
Okay.
Mr. Wirtz. And I know what the answer is. And I already received the apology I was looking for. So it's not as big a deal as it probably could have been, but it's a big deal. Big Rumble, love her to death. She's the best. She just she filled out an application and she got named to a teen philanthropy board.
Okay.
Like they get to they raise money and then they get to give it out to a nonprofit that they pick at the end of the year. Guess when the school year opening meeting is for the Teen Philanthropy Board that has to be attended by a parent as well. Guess when that meeting is,
I'm gonna
Tommy.
Go with tonight at 7:15.
All right, so it's not at 7:15. It is 6 to 8. Which, first of all, ain't nobody need a 2-hour meeting. Ain't nobody need a 2-hour meeting. Everybody there in Thailand, you got that? Nobody needs a 2-hour meeting. You can get it done in one.
All
Right?
day, yeah.
Right, come on. Yeah, like you need meetings. You need to talk. You need to get everybody on the same page. I'm not anti-meeting. I actually love meetings. You just don't need a 2-hour meeting. Like that's a long time. So I wrote to the organizer, who I know separately from being just like she's in charge of this. I also know her. And I said, looking forward to this, wondering if it will be the full 2 hours. I know it's not always on your radar, but there is a Packers game tomorrow night. So I sent this yesterday. And when I said your radar, I meant like the organization. Like, again, it's a nonprofit organization. It's not always their job to pay attention. Although here in Wisconsin, right, aren't we always paying attention? Like, isn't the first thing you do when you schedule anything in the fall to cross-reference it with a Packers game?
You would think.
Right, you would think. So here's what she wrote back. Hey, Mitch, yes, the program is slated to end at 8. And then, is that a smiley face or a half? Oh, it's a frowny face. I realized, far too late, that I had violated a cardinal sin of being a Wisconsin nonprofit professional. This native Floridian made a rookie mistake, and hopefully you'll forgive me in exchange for my turning a blind eye to the game being on your phone.
Okay.
Please accept my apologies, and as always, go Pack Go, warmly.
I mean, with that's
a great response by her, right?
Yeah, you can't really complain much about it after that, right?
No,
I mean,
I am frustrated that I have to go to this meeting. Mrs. Thunder's out of town, so I'm solo dadding all week long through the weekend. Usually when she's out of town, it's like a Sunday through Friday. This week it's Sunday through the next Monday. Man, that's a long time.
What are you gonna do, man? Oh my
what do you mean?
gosh.
I drive the kids everywhere. Little Rumble's got a cross-country meet, their first cross-country meet of the year. So Big Rumble's like freaking out. How's she going to get home? And I'm like, we live a mile from school. You can get a ride from 100 friends, or you could walk. Like step up. But so I'm frustrated by this, but I'm not like, I'm okay. I will set the DVR. Yes, I still have a DVR. I will set the DVR to record the Packers game. So the question is 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Do I not know what's going on with the game at all? And when I get home at 8:15, do I just start it from the beginning, fast forward through the commercials, catch up by halftime? Or do I watch the game like on my phone in my lap while the meeting is going place, which I assume I don't have to take part in? Like, I assume I'm just there to watch them talk with the kids and like it's their meeting, but like they want the parents there because they want the parents buy-in as the kids get involved in this nonprofit doing good work in the community. What What would you do? What would you do? 414-677-1250. That's the Nicolay Law Fan talk and text line. You can give us a call, or you can just shoot in a text if you want to do that. 414-677-1250. If you and not for me specifically tonight, but anytime there's a Packers game or a big game going on, do you start following the game immediately when the game starts if you have a conflict, or do you try to like la 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 la? We just watched Fever Pitch last week, and there's a famous scene where Jimmy Fallon is eating lobster, and they're at a lobster restaurant, so his hands are all a mess, and they start talking about the Red Sox game at the table next to him, and so Drew Barrymore has to come over and cover his ears for him so he does not hear about what happened in the game. And Drew Barrymore's parents, of course, thinks he's crazy, which he is. So should I watch, I'm going to watch the game from the beginning, regardless.
Okay.
Should I know what's going on, or should I come into it not knowing what's going on?
No, you have to know live time updates.
I have to know.
I mean, it's impossible for me not to know that and have that,
Well, because if you tweet, or if Sparky tweets, or if Dario tweets, or if all of our other friends in the radio and TV and newspaper worlds, if they tweet, I'm going to get their alerts anyway, right?
Right. Yeah. Just be caught up live time.
Be caught up live time, but still watch it. And I'm going to watch it from the beginning, knowing what happened.
Yeah, that's fine.
And if maybe at some point, maybe it gets to like 7:45 in the meeting, and I realize like not much is going on with the game, maybe I do turn my phone on silent then, just so like it's more exciting to watch it when I watch it. But 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. What do you do when you know you've got like a cousin's quinceañera? What's it called? I did not. Quinceañera. Or you have your aunt and uncle's anniversary party, or you have a baby shower, or a graduation, or whatever's going on, and you know you're going to get to the Packers game on TV at home or wherever you're watching it. You're going to get there late. Do you want to know what happened? Do you watch it back? I just want to get a taste for how people feel about that. We didn't talk about this with Mason Crosby. I kind of feel like maybe we should. The Green Bay Packers, of course, every game they welcome back featured alumni. Perry Kemp is coming back, and Ron Hallstrom is coming back for this game. Perry Kemp, I think my first ever Packers game, which was at County Stadium, and I'm almost positive was a preseason game. Let's see. Perry Kemp played for the Green Bay Packers. Let's check his Wikipedia page. By the way, his first name is Commodore. If your first name is Commodore, why are you going by your middle name Perry? Like, aren't you going by Commodore? That's a pretty impressive name. He played for the Packers 88-91. So I'm almost positive that my first ever Packers game was a preseason game at County Stadium that I went to with my grandpa and my uncle. That's Uncle Dick, the official beer vendor of Middays with Thunder. He is actually a beer vendor at AmFam Field. And he was at Potawatomi yesterday. And I think he did pretty well at the poker table, by the way. I think Perry Kemp caught like a bomb or a touchdown pass or something, probably from Don Mikowski. I'm guessing could have been from Anthony Dilweg or Blair Keel or some of the guys who were the backups back then. But my guess would have been from Mikowski. I'm almost positive it was a preseason game. So he's one of the guys who's being honored tonight. But the reason I was saying we should have brought this up with our good buddy Mason Crosby is also signing autographs at the game tonight, and is going to be there is Chris Jackie. And I don't know if there's like kicker on kicker rivalry or a friend. I think most kickers have a friendship, but I do wonder if there's like between Jackie Longwell and Mason, is there like a friendly rivalry, having been important Packers kickers of an era? But Chris Jackie will be signing autographs. Jared Bush and George Kuntz will also be at Titletown Game Day Live. I don't know exactly what that is, but I assume it's like a webcast or a podcast or something that they do there up in Green Bay. But when I saw Chris Jackie's name, that kind of popped out to me, and I noticed that. 262 writes in. I think that's T in Pewaukee writing in. Texted my brother-in-law who's going to the game. He had no idea it was whiteout tonight. And so I do wonder, like, how do the Packers get this word out besides like Mitch Nellis being the friendly, kind sports host and letting people know, if you hold the tickets, I think you probably got an email like, hey, get ready for the game, wear the whiteout. I know whenever I have Brewers tickets or Bucks tickets, I get an email either the day before the game or the day of the game. Like, here's what to expect at the game. Here's what the pregame entertainment is. Here's what the halftime entertainment is. So I know when Red Panda's playing at a Bucks game. You can't miss Red Panda's the GOAT. She's unbelievable. She's the best. But I do wonder, like, how do the Packers get this? Like, they don't buy advertising. I'm guessing that on maybe TV or on a radio that is their flagship, that they do run a promotion or two. I don't know why you'd be listening to that radio station instead of ours. We are the voice of the fan here. They're the voice of whatever. But I do wonder. That's one of the other things when a team's trying to do this, but not providing white t-shirts themselves, right? Not being ahead of that. I do wonder kind of how that all works. 414-677-1250. It is kind of on the Packers to get that out. I did throw that question out. And the question of the day, really, who will be the Packers MVP tonight? Tommy said in his mind that it's going to be whoever plays right tackle, assuming Zach Tom does not play. And we don't know about Zach Tom and Aaron Banks, but we kind of assume they're not going to play tonight, at least one of them. Bill Johnson, friend of show, says, my answer is Micah Parsons until further notice. I can't really argue that. Like, Micah Parsons, with the impact he had last Sunday and with everything he said in the media this week, with having 4.5 sacks against Jaden Daniels last year as a member of the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think we can ever argue that. And in the next segment, we're going to talk a little bit more about Micah Parsons, his history with Dan Quinn, and our expectations specifically for Micah Parsons. Jeremy writes in X on defense and Josh Jacobs on offense. And I think those are absolutely two of the guys that jump off the page as well. And it's like, part of me wants to say it's easy to pick those guys. It's low-hanging fruit to pick those guys. But on many other levels, like, why wouldn't we pick those guys? Why wouldn't we just pick the best player and expect them to be the MVP? Jordan writes in, it's Edgerrin Cooper. Edgerrin Cooper spying over the middle when Daniels takes off. And does Edgerrin Cooper have the speed to track down Jaden Daniels and keep him contained? Tommy, do you like the fact that when it's game day, I get his name right? Have you been impressed by that?
That you get
Jaden Daniels' name right?
Jane Daniels' name right?
Jalen McDaniels? Correct. Is Jalen McDaniels the guy what's the name of the guy who was on the Timberwolves? Didn't he just go to another team?
Well, it was Jalen McDaniels, okay. Yes.
So that is actually a person.
Yes.
Like, I'm not just making up a name.
Right, correct.
Didn't he sign with somebody else?
I have no idea where he went. I just remember Anthony Edwards saying we have Jalen McDaniels when the response was like, oh, they have LeBron or something.
We have Jalen. Yeah. Nice. But it's game day. So we lock in today, right? We get serious today. Jaden Daniels, the quarterback for the Redskins, one of the best young talents in the NFL, a phenomenal rookie season last year. And so Edgerrin Cooper, whether he's the spy, whether Quay Walker plays spy, whether Micah Parsons plays some spy, that spy is going to be important to try to limit him in his rushing. Last year, over 900 yards, right around 900 yards. And he's just, he's just one of those guys that you got to keep an eye on, or he third and long becomes first down, because you turned your back for one split second and he makes it happen. So that spy is going to be important. Jordan points it out. He's got Edgerrin Cooper. Joe writes in, and he's got Tommy's favorite defensive player. He's going Rashawn Gary. I'll go Gary. They'll double on Parsons, so Gary has a good chance to have a big game tonight. I kind of like that we're getting different names on defense. Like Bill went with Micah, but then the next votes are X and then Edge and then Gary. Like that tells me that this Packers defense is kind of fun to watch. Has more than one. It's not Micah Parsons and a bunch of scrubs. It's not Micah Parsons and 10 guys who barely make anybody else's roster. It's guys who can play. Like this is a fun defense. And I think we're going to be hearing all season long from Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator, about all the fun toys he has and all the opportunities he has to have fun with those guys. Want to get a little bit into the Micah Parsons, Dan Quinn relationship, the history that they have. And Dan Quinn, of course, the head coach of the Washington Commanders. So we'll get into that. And then, of course, you got some Brewer talk going on as well. Brewer talk, the Brewers are off today. No leadoff show today. The Cardinals are in town tomorrow. My name is Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. You can listen online at thefanmilwaukee.com. Download the free Odyssey app. We are live on YouTube at The Fan Milwaukee. Use the @ at The Fan Milwaukee. Drop us a line if you're in YouTube. There's a chat right there. You can throw us a chat, and you can always text into the show. 414-677-1250. That's 414-677-1250. This is Middays with Thunder on The Fan. This is Middays with Thunder on the Fan. We are not just fans, we are family here at 1250 AM, 1057 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app. And when I say family, I mean all of you, all of our fans, all of our listeners, all of our partners in crime, whether you text in, whether you send in a message on YouTube, whether you find us on Facebook or Twitter or, I don't know, Snapchat, Instagram.
Ooh, I have a question
do
for
we
you.
snap it all?
Should I get
Sure.
a Substack?
Like you personally?
I don't even know what it is.
Do you want to write?
I
That's
just
the
don't.
question.
I have no idea what it is, Mitch. And I see people like Substack feels like it's like coming up and moving now. And I've no. Is it social media? Is it a blog? What is it?
It is. I think it's blog.
Okay.
Because I just subscribed to a Substack that I get like all of Dylan Graff's stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I think I might have got exposed to it with Dylan Graff last week.
Yep. He is active on Substack, and I'm trying to think like who else. Peter Bukowski is The Leap is on Substack.
Okay.
Badger Notes is on Substack. Let's see what else.
I'd really never heard of it until like a few weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And now all I see is Substack. So
I think the question is, do you want to write? Because I assume, let's see, Jason Hirschhorn is also on Substack. Yogi Roth. Do you know who Yogi Roth is?
No, it doesn't sound
Never
familiar.
heard that name. I clicked on him. Let's see. I still clicked on him. Father, husband, broadcaster, storyteller, lover of college football, podcast discussing college football through the lens of the West Coast. But for some reason, he popped up on my Substack on the same email as Dylan Graff and Peter Bukowski. So I think it's like that's the platform they are getting. You know, I assume it's written word.
Okay.
Because I assume podcasting is through. I like my podcast is on Podbean. I haven't podcasted in 3 years.
Right.
But like I have an active podcast that's on Podbean, but you can use Spotify. You could just produce it and have anyone can you get the RSS feed and you can do it through Odyssey or iHeart or Apple or
right.
And Spotify, you get them. I think Substack is a blog mechanism that's very similar for people who are writing.
I'll have to look
articles.
into it. I was just curious because I think I knew you mentioned it and I've just been seeing it everywhere. And I'm like, do I need to get this? Like, I'm kind of avoiding Blue Sky just for having another social media, but Blue Ski.
I just like saying blue.
I just don't need another social media platform.
Right.
And like, but now I'm seeing Substack everywhere, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
I don't know if Substack is its own social media platform or if it's just, you know what? Let's ask Peter. Like, we could have him on the air, or we could just give him a call. But Peter would know. Dylan Graff, one of our new Badger reporters, he would know because their stuff. I think Peter would be the best guy to know. So,
okay.
For those of you who are following, who follow Peter Bukowski on Twitter and read his stuff. How do you read his stuff? Like he writes for The Leap. It's on Substack. Do you have a Substack account? Do you have a paid account? Because I know I get emails sometimes for paid stuff. I don't have a paid account. I don't think I have access to all the articles on Substack, but I get what I can. I know Ryan Horvat was supposed to join us at noon. I think I just got a new Commander's Beat reporter. I should probably find out. Let's see. What is your name and affiliation? How about that? This is live radio right now as we're booking a guest literally for the next segment, right? So we've got to make sure we get that out because Ryan Horvat from BetMGM, longtime The Fan contributor, was supposed to join us, but his son puked all over himself. So, when that happens, your whole day gets kind of thrown into chaos and different. But Toby, let's see. Toby Altizer from 106.7 The Fan. Altizer is going to join us.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Also used to work at The Fan.
Toby did?
Oh yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Nice. All right. Well, he works at The Fan now, just at The Fan in DC, not at The Fan in Milwaukee. So he will join us next and he will break down everything. Commanders. I promise we won't ask any Nationals or Wizards questions because that would just be sad because they are sad. The Mystics too, by the way. The Mystics are terrible. The Green Bay Packers. It feels weird that the season just opened and we're already at game 2 tonight. And I love that it's a blank slate tonight. I mean, I love the Brewers, and if the Brewers were playing, obviously I'd be paying attention to the Brewers. But I love that there's not a conflict. There's not a Brewers game. I love that there's not anything we need to be paying attention to in the world of college football tonight. Because, there is Thursday night football. There's always Thursday night football in college football. But there's no big game tonight. I'm trying to see, what do we have? Tonight's NC State at Wake Forest. So for all you ACC fans, you can watch, and that's it. That's the only game tonight, I believe. So go have fun with that. We're going to be watching the Packers game, and we're going to be listening to the post-game show with Sparky and Tommy right after that game. So Micah Parsons, for those of you who don't know, played for the Dallas Cowboys for 4 years. And even more for those of you who don't know, Dan Quinn was an assistant coach with those Dallas Cowboys for not the last 2 years where he's been, or what, that last year wasn't his first year with Washington, was it? Was it his second year or was it his first year? I'm not sure. I'll look that up. But he was an assistant. He was defensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys there. And so Micah Parsons was asked about that relationship. And he said, it's just like a father figure, an uncle, however you want to put it. That's my guy, and we're going to go forever. We're in this for the long run, and maybe our journeys might cross again one day. They asked Dan Quinn if he had any recommendations for Micah Parsons this week as a coach. And he was asked, are you asking what I would do if I were coaching him? I'd sit him this week. Yeah, it's a short week. I'd sit him, which is just like, what a great answer by Dan Quinn. Today's Dan Quinn's 55th birthday, by the way. So hopefully there's no birthday present there. But I love the dynamic of Micah Parsons, his second game. We all know, and we highlighted this game, right? Game 4. Packers and Cowboys. Cannot wait. Micah Parsons going back to Dallas. Huge deal. Well, it's also a big deal what's going on tonight. It's also a big deal that he's playing against Dan Quinn. And I'm sure in Dallas, they made a big deal out of it last year. I'm sure they talked about what it meant. And probably not for Micah Parsons specifically, but it was a bigger deal that Dan Quinn was going up against his old team. He was with the Cowboys through 23. So let's see, in 24, and this will be 25. Yeah, this is his second year with the Commanders. Last year was his first year. I'm sure it was a big deal in Dallas that Dan Quinn was coaching against the Commanders. But for us, we don't care so much about that he was the defensive coordinator there. We care that he coached Micah Parsons. And so I kind of ask you, and I'll answer the question as well. Does it give the Commanders, does it give Dan Quinn, does it give Jaden Daniels any sort of edge with how well Dan Quinn knows Micah Parsons? With the fact that he was his defensive coordinator the first 3 seasons of his NFL career, that Dan Quinn was Micah Parsons' defensive coordinator in Dallas. Let's see, Dan Quinn was the assistant coach of the year in 2021, his first year there. The Dallas Cowboys defense led the league in turnovers from 21 to 23 while he was there. I think we all know how good Diggs has been as a pick six master for the Dallas Cowboys over the past few years. But does it give any edge to Dan Quinn? Does it give any, because of the insight that he does have? Is there any, because there is that familiarity with Dan Quinn and Micah Parsons? Does that help out Dan Quinn at all? 414-677-1250 is the phone number. 414-677-1250 if you want to get involved and in that conversation. I got to be honest, I think that it matters. I think that when Dan Quinn talks to his offensive line and when Dan Quinn talks to his quarterback. Now remember, he's the defensive guy, and what's his name? The tight shirt guy.
Kingsbury.
Thank you. Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive guy there. But when Dan Quinn talks to his quarterback, that's why Tommy's the best. Tommy, you are the absolute best. I don't care what Andy Herman says about every guest he's had on his show ever. You are legitimately the absolute best. But I think that it's I think that there is something to, that Dan Quinn. Now, obviously, I don't know. It didn't work last year. Jane Daniels got sacked twice. Although the Redskins, I know they beat the Cowboys at least once if they didn't beat them twice. But Jane Daniels did get sacked 4.5 times by Micah Parsons last year. But again, last year was a little different because Quinn was going against his old team, not against one specific player like he is this year. But I like it. I like when Micah says, it's just like a father figure, uncle, however you want to put it. We're in this for the long run. Maybe our journeys might cross again one day. I mean, I like in sport when there's that level of respect. I like when there's and with that said, I like when the whistle blows. They want to absolutely destroy each other. There's no love when the whistle blows. When the whistle finishes, there's all love. That's my guy, and we're gonna go forever. That's what Micah Parsons said. I love that. I love that spirit. I love that intensity. I love how that plays out. So often, week to week. You whether it's this type of relationship or you're going against a guy you played with in college. I think those are fun matchups to watch. So I think it'll be fun to see. Here's what I want. I want Micah Parsons to get a sack tonight, and I want him with two hands to pretend he's holding up a birthday cake and blow out all the candles. And looking at Dan Quinn. Just look at Dan Quinn and just go, because that's 56 candles you got to blow out. 55 plus the one for good luck. That's a lot of candles. That's even, Tommy, I know it'll shock you. That's even more than me. Dan Quinn is even older than me. It's unbelievable, right? With all this white hair, it's hard to believe. But I know, but I would love if that was his sack celebration tonight. Just blowing out all those candles. That would be I am here. I'm absolutely here for that. Toby Altizer, 1067 The Fan in DC. He's going to join us next to talk all things Washington Commanders and the matchup tonight. 7:15. We are 7 hours and 19 minutes away. So if you have your countdown clock, I think Packers.com actually does put up a clock. So I wonder if we're on with that. But I believe we're 7 hours and 19 minutes away. Packers, Commanders talk coming up next. And then in the next hour, we'll also get into the Milwaukee Brewers. Are you worried about them? And if you are, what worries you more? Is it the starting pitching, the relief pitching, or the hitting? My name is Mitch Nelson, a.k.a. Thunder. This is Middays with Thunder, 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app.
lightning and the thunder.
But after all these years, I'm still scared of thunder.
It's time for Middays with Thunder with Mitch Nellis, broadcasting live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
And welcome into hour number 2 of Middays with Thunder. My name's Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. Tommy Wirtz is here as well. Want to remind everybody, if you missed Chris Gizzy earlier today on the Mason Crosby Show, or any of our interviews or segments that you want to catch up on, you can find them wherever you listen to your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Odyssey. It's all there. You can listen by individual hour. You can jump straight to the highlights. So if you want to just search the Mason Crosby Show, find Chris Gizzy from today. It was awesome. I remember on September, I guess it would have been September 17th, but on the Monday night game after September 11th, Chris Gizzy, of course, of the Air Force Academy, was the individual who carried the American flag out for our Green Bay Packers as they faced the then Washington Redskins in a game. The Washington Commanders this September 11th will be in Green Bay for Thursday night football. And joining us now on the fan guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, is Toby Altizer from 106.7 The Fan in the DC area. Toby, thanks so much for jumping on, my man.
Absolutely, man. Fired up about tonight's game.
Yeah, as you should be. Before we get to that, I know you spent some time here in Milwaukee, you know, I let you know, and we had promoted that Ryan Horvat was going to be on the show today. You know, apparently his kid, you know, got sick at school and puked everywhere. That's never a good situation. You want to puke after a couple beers at the football game, not the day of the game, right?
Yeah, I'll have to, if I see Horvey around the office, I'll let him know that they're disappointed they didn't get to hear a professional and had to settle for an amateur like me.
You might want to stay away, though, for a couple days because, you know, you never know what's, you know, when you have little kids, that you never know what germs they're spreading. So thank you so much for jumping on. Really appreciate it. Here we go. Thursday night football. And I know the excitement here is off the charts after week 1. The Commanders also had a resounding, kind of an easy win, and it was against the Giants, not against the Lions. But how are fans feeling about the Commanders right now?
They feel good. I mean, the big question mark coming into this season was the offense and defensive lines, and that was an emphasis that General Manager Adam Peters had. He joined us earlier before the season kicked off, and he said as much, that he wanted to get better in the trenches, and both those areas looked really, really good. The offensive line was going up against really the best unit on the Giants in their defensive line, facing guys like Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau always does well, Brian Burns, and they gave up 3 sacks in the first half, but then they were able to shut out the Giants in the second half from getting to the quarterback. And for the most part, I would say the offensive line played really, really well. The offense was a little bit out of sync overall, but they still went for 430 yards.
I mean, that's pretty good for being a little out of sync.
Yeah, you'd expect more points at 21 for that amount of yardage, but I thought overall, a good performance, not great. I'd feel a little bit better going into this matchup in Green Bay if, you know, it wasn't a short week this early in the season. You know, coming out of training camp Thursday night football, I don't really get a chance to practice really going into this matchup. But I think overall fans feel pretty confident going into this one.
Nice. Toby Altizer joining us from 106.7 The Fan. Toby, you talked about the short week, and I think it's got to be some level of advantage for the Packers that they played at home on Sunday and they get to stay home. If you surveyed the players, none of them would say they want to play on Thursday night. But talk a little bit more about that short week and what Washington needs to clean up. You know, you mentioned a little bit how they already cleaned things up on the offensive line, maybe a little bit. But what does Washington need to clean up looking into the game tonight?
Yeah, penalties were a big problem. They had 12 for over 100 yards, I believe, in week 1. So they're going to have to be sharper in that sense. I mean, you mentioned the short week, too. Dan Quinn's motto, this team's motto last year was anybody, anywhere, anytime. So they have to live that motto up. They have to go on the road at Lambeau, a tough environment to play in. I mean, they were playing the go at practice, getting set for playing at Lambeau. So they're ready to roll. I think the big thing that they just have to play sharper. There were just some throws that Jaden made down the stretch last year that were a little behind guys that weren't entirely on target. There was a little bit out of sync. And so if they're able to kind of fine-tune some of those things, I thought defensively they did a really, really good job. I don't know that there's a whole lot that you feel like you need to clean up defensively. It'll be interesting to see against a better offense in Green Bay, if they bring that same sort of effort, what that'll look like. But offensively, it's just kind of sharpening up everything. Where Terry wasn't super involved, can they get him more involved? There were a couple balls to Deebo Samuel that one's a drop on him, one Jaden just overthrew him slightly. So I think it's just making sure to fine-tune some of those things, and if they're able to hit some of those, they'll like their chances at Lambeau tonight.
Over the last couple of weeks, we've had a number of reporters from Dallas on our air. Last week, the Phillies were in Milwaukee, so I had a chance to talk to Spike Eskin from WIP, and we got to talk a little bit about the Eagles. What was the Washington reaction to Micah Parsons being traded from the Cowboys to the Packers, staying in the NFC, kind of going to another playoff team, and not staying in the division, but certainly a relevant player that will be facing the Commanders tonight?
There was like a parade thrown out here that he's no longer in the NFC East. And I had to remind people, like, you're still going to see this guy in week 2, although it might be a limited number of snaps. We'll see on that. Mm-hmm. But this is also someone that you still might see in the playoffs. But knowing that you're not guaranteed to face this guy twice a year, fans are so happy to get him out of the division. He wrecked so many Washington games through his time in Dallas. So people are thrilled not to have to see him all the time. It'll be interesting to see. And I saw in his first game, he was kind of moved all over the place, but primarily he was over the right tackle. And that's something that Washington is going to have to counter tonight, because they've got a rookie starting at right tackle, Josh Connerly. And I thought he played okay in his first matchup, but there were a couple of snaps where Brian Burns got the best of him. And sure, Burns is a good pass rusher, but he's not Micah Parsons.
Yeah, Micah, he lined up over right tackle. He got his sack from lining up over left tackle and chasing Goff from behind. He also lined up a few times over center, and they've all sorts of different. I think Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Packers, is going to have a lot of fun playing with all his toys this year. With what Micah Parsons adds to a defense that already was a top 10 defense in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm interested to see exactly how that matchup goes tonight, because it seems like the Packers are going to play a lot of zone tonight, and you kind of really can't play a lot of man coverage against Jaden Daniels just because of his running threat.
Yes.
But I'm curious to see this offensive line against a D-line that looked really, really good for the Packers in week 1. Guys like Van Ness, Gary stepping up, obviously Parsons. But this offensive line for Washington feels a lot better, where their left tackle, Brandon Coleman from last year, a day 2 pick, he's moved now into left guard since they got Laramie Tunsil, and I think he's going to be a plus at guard. Many people out of the draft had him as a guard. So I see him being more of a plus there. Biotish, Wisconsin fans are familiar with, obviously, with the Cowboys. He's been a solid center. And the right side is the big question mark. Allegretti is starting for the injured Sam Cosmi right now, and he's solid. He's okay. He's not great, but he's kind of filling in for the time being. And then the rookie Josh Connerly at right tackle. So I think the right side of that offensive line for Washington is something to watch tonight, but I think they feel pretty good about their unit, and it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of match some of the play that they had against the Giants last week tonight at Green Bay.
Toby Altizer with us here on The Fan. He's on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. And I think last year, it wasn't Jordan Love's second season, but it was second season as a starter. We saw his production slump a little bit compared to the second half of his first year as a starter. But maybe more, relevant is the play of Stroud down in Houston. We have seen throughout the years a sophomore slump from quarterbacks, especially ones who really explode on the scene. What does Jaden Daniels need to do to avoid that type of slump?
Do the same thing he's been doing. And I know it sounds cliched, but look, this guy works his tail off. And there was a story that came out. So he's
the anti-Caleb Williams.
Oh, he's special. Like, you ask anybody around the organization, whether it's one of the guys playing with them, catching passes, whether it's one of the coaches, and they immediately mention his work ethic. And I think that's something that he learned going from Arizona State, where it was unceremonious, to go into LSU, was learning the necessary work to put in. Matter of fact, Yahoo put out a story before the season talking about how he, Cliff Kingsbury, their offensive coordinator, and Tavita Pritchard, the quarterback coach, will show up to the facility every morning, 6 a.m., they're ready to go. They run through their own walkthrough of what they're going to do in practice that day so that when Jaden steps on the practice field with the receivers and everybody else, he's sharp and knows what to talk about and gets the coaching points. And so it's those little things that we see the physical talents on the field, the accuracy, the poise, his running ability. We know all those things.
Yeah.
But I believe in the person, Jaden Daniels, almost more than his physical abilities. And that's what I think can make it so that he doesn't have that sophomore slump. And also, CJ Stroud, he had the sophomore slump, and I believe in him too, the person and everything. But his offensive line was terrible last year, and I don't think that's going to be the case for Washington this year.
Well, that's Jaden Daniels specifically. When we look at the team, the Commanders, I mean, we have just spent I don't know how many years with the Commanders being, laughing stock with a team that didn't have a lot of expectations, with maybe internally with their former owner, Daniel Snyder, having high expectations. But for those who knew ball around the league, this was not a franchise that much was expected from. How do you see the team overall, the franchise, the new leadership, Dan Quinn and his, being there? How do you see all of those pieces working together now under, a little more pressure than they've been under the past 5-10 years as an organization in terms of expectations?
They're so mature, the top players on the team, and they're the whole team in the NFL. And it's obvious when you've got guys like Bobby Wagner still playing a big role, Zach Ertz still playing a big role, that they're quite old team. But part of the good of that is Bobby Wagner's not intimidated going into Lambeau tonight. Zach Ertz isn't intimidated going into Lambeau in a short week, and having those sorts of guys. So they help out. And I think Dan Quinn does such a good job of getting the guys to buy in on whatever they're doing, whatever their game plan is, whatever it is, whatever their role is. He does such a good job of getting them to buy in. And I kind of slept on how good of a leader he is. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll see how his defense improves this year. He's a defensive-minded head coach, and their defense wasn't very good last year. I don't know if that was personnel or scheme or whatnot, but he does such a good job of getting everybody to buy in to the point that you saw last year in the playoffs. We always talk about who the more talented team is, who's better, and all those things. And I don't think anyone going into those playoffs would have said that Washington was a top 2 team in the NFC in terms of talent. But when you look at the way they were playing together, the chemistry that they had, and the understanding of we're going to fit into each of our roles and play the best possible football we can, I think they were a top 2 team in the NFC. And obviously the Eagles were the top dog and kind of demolished them in the NFC Championship. But it'll be interesting to see as the season goes on. So I don't know if they quite have that yet in week 2, as you're, especially off a short week, if you've built up that chemistry. But I think the leadership here is just so different than it's been in the past, and everybody buys into a winning culture and winning organization that hasn't been the case around here in a long, long time.
That's true. Toby Altizer joining us here on Middays with Thunder. Follow him on Twitter at Toby_Altizer. It's TOBI, Toby Altizer. And I kind of asked you your thoughts on Micah Parsons. I also like to ask whenever I have anybody on from other team markets, what is the global view that you see of Jordan Love? What do people in DC, I think, I don't know that there's a ton of comparisons between Jordan Love and Jaden Daniels, the player, but I think when we look at rankings of quarterbacks, they're kind of intertwined as you have the 3 quarterbacks from the AFC, you have Jalen Hurts, but then that next group of guys, like is Jaden Daniels at the top of that group? Is Jordan Love at the bottom or the middle of that group? How do you view Jordan Love's progression as a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, you saw him, like you said, kind of take a little bit of a step back last year, and how much of that was injury, how much of that was actual struggles, we'll never really know, but we'll get to kind of see this year if he can kind of bounce back. But I mean, I thought going into last year, he could emerge as the best quarterback in the NFC. And you see, when you look around compared to the AFC, they've got so many good dudes over there. And I'm so glad that this team isn't having to play in the AFC where you're going up against Burrow and Mahomes and Lamar and all those guys, Josh Allen, versus in the NFC, Matt Stafford has the pedigree, but you question whether he's going to be able to stay healthy. I think there's a good chance by the end of the year, you're looking at these 2 guys that are going to play quarterback tonight at Lambeau and saying they're the top 2 dogs in the NFC. And I think the Packers team overall is better. I would take Jaden personally over Jordan Love, but I think Jordan Love is just such a wild card. He can make the great throw, and then the next time you're scratching your head. But because of those abilities, if he can just play in structure and let Matt LaFleur do his thing and kind of pull out his cape when he needs to versus trying to be Superman all the time. Yeah, I think that Jordan Love is really, really special. And, I was down on the pick. I was out in Milwaukee when they made that pick, and it was such a wild time.
Yes.
But, yeah, I think that now you see kind of the vision and where this team is at. I took the Packers to win the NFC North before they even traded for Micah Parsons, and wouldn't surprise me at all if Green Bay at the end of the year is right there to compete for the Lombardi.
Packers and Commanders 7:15 tonight at Lambeau. I know it's early in the season. It's only week 2. It's a short week. It's the first game of week 2. But what will this game mean for the winner and the loser? Certainly the winner goes to 2-0 and can claim that they're one of the top teams early in the season in the NFC. But the team that loses this game are there more questions than answers then, or could this be a situation where it comes out where both teams end up looking really good?
Yeah, it's funny because I've had plenty of friends that live out in Wisconsin still texting me about this game and asking what I expect. And I'm like, honestly, this is a game where I just want to sit back and watch, and I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, I want the burgundy and gold to come out on top, but I don't really know what's going to happen. And frankly, I'm not worried about what's going to happen because I think it's just going to be such a good football game. For the winner, I think you look at it and you say that you're almost laying claims to being the top dog in the NFC or one of the top 2 to 3 teams in the NFC.
Sure.
For the loser, depending upon how it looks, if it looks, competitive, you walk away and say, great, we were competitive on a short week against a really good football team. No big deal. We're doing things correctly early in the season. If it's a blowout, there's some different discussions to be had. But I think overall, you walk away from this game, which I think is going to be close, and neither team is off worse and probably better off just from playing each other this early in the season in a big-time matchup.
Toby Allitizer joining us here on The Fan. And then I had a question, and it totally just escaped my mind, which, Toby, what I will say to you is don't get old. Okay. I mean, do all the Sudoku and the crossword puzzles and all the mind game, all that sort of stuff, because you do not want to get old. That's for sure. I likewise, I think fans in Wisconsin are really excited for this game. I think it's going to be a great measuring stick for what these teams can do. Have you made an official prediction? Do you do official predictions?
I'll give you an official prediction. I've kind of thought about it. I couldn't come up with much of a score, but I'll throw one out there. I'll go 24-21 Commanders, but
okay.
Just about anything could happen tonight and wouldn't surprise me, right? I mean, if the Packers come out and roll, wouldn't be surprising to me because maybe the pass rush gets home and maybe Washington O-line isn't as good as we thought maybe after week 1. There's just about any scenario that could happen tonight. And it wouldn't shock me because I think these are 2 of the best teams in the NFC. And so I'm excited to see what exactly rolls out tonight, but I'm going to roll with the burgundy and gold. And frankly, anytime Jaden Daniels steps on the football field, I feel the Commanders have a good chance to win.
Which I think is appropriate. And I think Packers fans, depending on how it goes tonight, don't necessarily feel that way about Jordan Love, but very soon may feel that way about Jordan Love with Micah Parsons. That having Micah Parsons really does tilt the field for the Packers a little bit. I remember the question I was going to ask. Today is September 11th, and 24 years ago, we know what this country went through and how it kind of united the country. And then, of course, we know it was Washington at Green Bay on that first Monday night game. I know the game's in Green Bay; it's not in Washington. But is there any feeling of September 11th in the DC area today, especially with all the rest of the chaos going on in our country right now? And I don't want to get political or anything. I just kind of want to, I'm more looking for the camaraderie of like, is that something that in the sports world that people are looking at all?
No, I don't know that they fully are, but I mean, you notice it. Like I'm looking out at a building right now as I'm in DC, and they're got a giant American flag draped over it, which isn't normally the case for this building. So that's out for September 11th. Obviously, driving by the Pentagon and the effect there, the attacks that were there, as well as New York, and
right.
Yeah, I mean, you feel it, right? I mean, it's cool driving through and seeing the different monuments and just remembering what this country stands for, and hopefully, after some events over the last couple of days, we can come together and love our fellow Americans, regardless of what we feel about politically or whatnot. But yeah, it's always somber on September 11th, but I think with the events of yesterday and then a football game tonight, it doesn't quite have the same hit, but you still feel it every time you see the red, white, and blue.
Absolutely. He's Toby Altizer, 1067 The Fan in DC, and joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Toby_Altizer. It's funny. Normally when I have somebody on, like I'll ask a baseball question or I'll ask a basketball question. I don't even know if I want to talk about the Nationals or the Wizards. Like, I mean, it is some dark times in DC. It's almost like you needed the Commanders to get good again because of what's going on with the other teams. And I'll throw the Mystics in there too, because my wife went to the Mystics Liberty game the other night. She's in New York for work. And she just said, like, I mean, yeah, it's the last game of the year or whatever, but the Mystics were just going through the motions too.
Yeah, it's not a great time right now. I'll say that. We get excited for hockey around here because the Capitals are generally competitive. But yeah, I do a Nationals podcast with our guy Grant Paulson out here, and it's a struggle talking about the Nats right now. Although they waited until football season when they've been largely irrelevant for the summer months. And they waited till football season, and now they're winning baseball games. So
isn't that how
you're
works?
welcome?
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, you're welcome to Milwaukee for beating the Cubs 2 out of 3 last weekend. So we're doing our thing to help out Milwaukee as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at your schedule coming up. It doesn't look like. I mean, you got the Mets for 3, but besides that, Washington might have the easiest September schedule in the history of baseball. So it doesn't look like they could play spoilers with too many people except for the Mets. But I will say to that, keep on keeping on. Obviously, we're loving this ride the Brewers are on. They just got swept by the Rangers, but they're still playing great baseball, and it's been a lot of fun. And now the Packers are, doing their thing. So, if anytime you want to jump on and just talk Brewers or you need to talk some winning baseball, you go right ahead.
Let me tell you, if I'm Pat Murphy, I'm not much of a pancake guy, so I didn't mind the quesadilla bit, but I would go pocket cheeseburger. But I don't know how that would quite do with the old uniform and everything. Right, but pocket cheeseburger would be my play.
I think you got to do like almost like a cheeseburger quesadilla, or how do you you got to get it so that the grease. I mean, with any of these things, you got to get it so that the grease, or with the pancakes with the syrup, so that nothing drips. So it's like how can you get almost like a cheeseburger burrito or a cheeseburger
there you
empanada.
Go. A pocket burrito works. Yeah.
A pocket burrito. I mean, I think that's got to be next. I mean,
whatever it is, I'm all for the pocket food that Pat Murphy's been rocking. And even though I'm out here in DC, I'm still rooting for the Brew Crew and following them pretty closely. So I hope they go on a long run, and hopefully they can get through and win a World Series like we did out here in 19.
Yeah, that would be absolutely fantastic. Toby, thank you so much for jumping on today, short notice. When you see Ryan, tell him I hope that everybody's feeling better in the family and that he doesn't get the bug. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll talk to him soon. And I really appreciate you jumping on.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it.
You bet. That's Toby Altizer. He is with 106.7 The Fan in DC, breaking down the Commanders matchup with our Green Bay Packers. And, no surprise, he takes the Commanders to win that one, but he's also got him in a close one. 24-21 just goes under the over-under. And a 24-21 game could easily get flipped on its head. Packers scored late. I mean, on the Mason Crosby Show, we all make our picks, and I think we all had the Packers winning like by 7 or 10 points. What if the Packers are down by 4 with 2 minutes left and they go on a 2-minute drive and score a touchdown to win it? Just like not business as usual last week against the Lions, but like a comeback win in the last 2 minutes. How bonkers is Packers Nation going to go then? I don't even want to think about it yet, but I'm excited. I'm excited just thinking about it. That's for sure. We're going to talk a little bit about Brewers when we get back. Are you worried about the Brewers and whether you're worried or not about the Brewers overall? Are you worried about a position group, starting pitching, relief pitching, and or hitting? We'll throw that question out on the socials as well. Toby Altizer joined us on the Fan Guest Hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Absolutely blast to catch up with him and hear about what's going on there. And remember, Packers fans, remember, gold ticket holders, if you are headed to the game tonight, you better be wearing white because it's a white attire whiteout tonight. Fans attending the game are reminded to wear white attire. That is in an email from the Green Bay Packers. You may not have known about it. Well, there's no excuses because everybody listens to Middays with Thunder. So everybody knows that you need to wear white to the game tonight. I'm trying to think, like games at 7:15. I think it's about time to leave. You got to get your food, get your tailgating stuff ready. And you got to leave in the next 10, 15 minutes. I think it's almost that time to get up to Green Bay and get that tailgate going and really make a day out of it. Well, we're making a day out of it here at the Fan. Pack a Day Radio, Mason Crosby Show, Middays with Thunder, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. We got it all for you right here on the Fan. 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, the Fan, free on the Odyssey app. This is Middays with Thunder on the Fan. This is Middays with Thunder here on the Fan, 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, the Fan. We're on YouTube, so load it up. I know you've got YouTube on your phone. You might as well watch because Tommy and I are very good looking. And if you want to see two good looking guys of different generations, that's what you've got. You've got a young guy and you've got an old guy, and that's what you got. Yeah.
I don't know what would be the I was gonna call you Silver Fox, but I didn't have a name for me.
I mean, I am a silver fox.
Young Buck.
Ooh, young buck. That
Okay,
works.
all
Yep.
right, yeah.
I feel like that's a used term that people use.
Right.
You are a young buck here on the Fan and on Earth in general. So welcome to game day. It's game day for our Green Bay Packers. Remember, after the game, make the switch to the Green Bay football post-game show with Sparky and Tommy. Tommy's going to go home, take a nap, watch the game, and come back here. Are you going to be here for the whole game, or do you come in at halftime?
I'll be here for the whole game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's just easier for me.
Cutting up highlights and stuff.
It just doesn't make sense for me. I know when I was first starting, Sparky was like, we'll just be here by the start of the third quarter or something, the start of the fourth quarter.
But if you're in the car, you miss you can listen to it on the radio.
Right.
But
I don't want to have to go back and get them. I'd rather cut them live. And when I was working across the street, that was kind of how they did things. So I just made it easier for me.
Sure. No, that makes sense. And so we're going to get back into football talk in the 1:00 hour. Greg Bedard is going to join us at 1:20. Former Packers beat reporter, now a national reporter based out of New England. But I put the question up on my Thunder MKE Facebook page. I'm going to put it up on my Facebook profile as well. And we're also going to put it up at the Fan Milwaukee on the Twitter and the Facebook. If you're worried about the Brewers, are you most worried about SP, RP, or hitting? SP and RP, of course, starting pitching and relief pitching. I guess I could have written that out, but I figured most people know. And if they don't, well, we're all fans here, so we'll all learn together. The Milwaukee Brewers just lost 3 in a row to the Texas Rangers. Yesterday, they lost 5-3. And it was kind of a disappointing 5-3 loss for a couple of reasons. One, our best friend, Bryce Terang, and Jackson Chourio led off the game with back-to-back home runs. And I just feel like if Christian Yelich had hit his ball 2 feet further, because he hit a ball to dead center that public enemy number 1, Michael Bleepin Hellman, caught jumping into the wall. If Yelich's ball had been able to get out and they could have put up a 3 instead of a 2, it was still a great way to start a game. And it was a great way to start a game with Freddie Peralta on the mound. And Freddie Peralta coming into the game, I believe 29 and a third scoreless innings, gets scored on in the second inning. The Brewers go down 5-2. They claw back 1 run to make it 5-3. Berger hit 2 home runs yesterday. I think Berger hit 2 home runs yesterday.
Cheeseburger.
Double cheese. Oh, nicely done. Double cheeseburger. Always delicious. I had a double cheeseburger yesterday at the not at the sports book, but at the food court at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel, where they got a ramen spot, they got a taco spot, they have an elevated sandwich spot. So I think that means pastrami and corned beef and that sort of stuff. They got a sweets spot. Tommy, this sweet spot, man, the cakes and the cookies that they create there are the cookies are full course meals. All the stuff they pile up on top of the cookies, and you can create your own. I don't know how they get that. I don't know how you eat that cookie with not all the stuff just falling off it on your first bite. Maybe I'm old, but I don't get. I'd eat it. Don't get me wrong. If you crush Oreo cookies on top of another cookie, I'm eating that cookie. I'm an Oreo cookies guy. So, but it was a great double cheeseburger. Meanwhile, Berger for the Rangers with 2 home runs, and the Brewers get swept in Texas, losing yesterday 5-3. They lost the day before 5-4, as they weren't able to complete that comeback, and shut out in the first game 5-0. The 4-run rule would not took a hit against the Rangers because 4 runs would not have won those games. And if you look at their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 previous games, the 4-run rule would have worked for all of them. They went 4 in one of them. The one game they lost was to the Phillies 2-0. So obviously 4 runs would have won that game. But losing 5-0, 5-4, 6-3, not a great look for the starting pitching for our Milwaukee Brewers, which has been so good this year and has had some struggles as well, but has always seemed to work its way out of it. A great 0-0 game against the Rangers in game 1. a dropped pop-up, foul pop, and then a couple walks leads to one bad pitch by Quintana, giving up a grand slam in that first game. The second game, they lose 5-4. Of course, yesterday, I guess it ended up being 6-3. It wasn't 5-3. It was 6-3 was the final as Texas scored another run in the eighth. And listen, the way I see it, sometimes you just run into a buzzsaw. And I think the Rangers right now might be a little bit of a buzzsaw. I think the Rangers right now are a hot baseball team. They're playing very well. And as hot as the Brewers were recently, like other teams are allowed to be hot too.
Sure.
The Rangers, let's see, have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 and 2, 7 and 2, 7 and 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they are 11 and 3 in their last 14 games. Like
okay, can I give a counterpoint?
Sure.
Isn't it kind of against the narrative that we've been pushing for most of this season, like get hot at the right time and see what happens come October?
In what do you mean?
I'm saying that.
How's it against that narrative?
I'm saying like, right. Like we're kind of justifying, and I find a way to do it too for the Brewers as well, but I'm kind of not loving they're not hot at the right time.
Yeah, but it's, again, it is September 11th and the Brewers have 15 more games.
Sure. So they can still find that time to get hot is what you're saying?
And a week off before they then play again.
Well, nah. I mean, is it only the 1 seed or
no, it's 1 and the 2?
The 1 and the 2,
so,
right?
So yes, I mean, it would really right now be the Cubs. Like if you think the Brewers can go 7 and 8 in their last 15 games, the Cubs have to go 13 and 3 to catch them. And the Dodgers would have to go 14 and 2 to catch them.
Yeah.
So I actually that's not true because they have the season series against the Dodgers. So the Dodgers would have to go 15 and 1 if the Brewers go 7 and 8.
2.5 game lead now for that
right.
1 seed.
The 1 seed is the question.
5.5 games in the division.
Right.
Stuck at 89 for a while, it feels like now.
Well, when you lose 3 in a row, you get stuck on a number. That's for sure. Again, if the Brewers go 7 and 8 to finish the season, the Cubs have to go 13 and 3 to win the division. So I'm not that is not of concern. Could it happen? Yes. Could the Brewers go worse than 7 and 8? Sure. Could the Cubs go better and then the Cubs would have to go 12 and 4 or 11 and 5 or whatever it is. But the Brewers right now are a clear, strong favorite to win the NL Central and to qualify for one of those top 2 seeds. They're only 2 up in the loss column. Phillies are 2.5 back. They're 2 back in the loss column. The Phillies also are getting hot. I don't know if the Phillies are getting hot or if they're just playing the Mets, and they eat against the Mets when they play at home. And we'll see how that goes for the rest of the season. But with the Cubs 5.5 back and the Dodgers 6.5 back, it's more than likely that the Brewers will get one of those top 2 seeds in the National League. That means they will get an extra 6 days off. So in addition to 15 games, they've got 6. So I do think there is time because they are playing, right now they're playing with Chad Patrick, right? They're playing, everybody gets an extra day of rest. And they're still playing with that lineup every day, which actually in the playoffs, I think Pat Murphy is still going to play with that lineup every day. But he's not going to play with the starters. He's not going to play with the starting rotation. The starters were not great in Texas. Quintana and Peralta especially. Actually, I think Chad Patrick pitched better.
I just think there's got to be something. I am kind of anti wins and losses to an extent with baseball.
Pitchers.
Right.
Okay.
To an extent, because there needs to be something said that like the boys just don't get up for Chad Patrick. They just, for whatever it is, his numbers are better than Quintana's, but they don't win. And like, is that not the most important stat to the Brewers every day? It feels like they always say, right? The win is the most important. And I don't know why, but it's not really necessarily Chad Patrick's fault. This last one, his no decision kind of felt like it was his fault. They got up, they gave him the lead.
They got up 3-1 and he almost immediately gave up a 2-run homer.
Right. So I just something to be said about it. I like what Chad Patrick does. I think he's going to be a starter in this rotation next year for sure.
Yep.
But why did the boys just not get up for Chad Patrick?
You know what? it's a great question. I don't know. But again, Chad Patrick's not relevant to the conversation because Chad Patrick is
won't be
right. He won't be pitching in the postseason.
What about something to be said about how long Bryce Terang has stayed hot now for the Brewers?
It feels like this is Bryce Terang.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's hot. I think this is Bryce Terang.
Yeah, but like just to be able to figure it out that hard after
in the middle of a season.
In the middle of a season. Like he's 3 homers away from 21.
Yeah.
Like that's tattooed area.
That's a real number.
Yeah, it's a real number.
Yeah. Listen, if Bryce Terang cools off, the Brewers are in trouble.
Oh yeah, it's over.
Right. I mean, but Bryce Terang to me looks like this is Bryce Terang. Like I believe that. I believe that this is Bryce Terang and this is who he can be at least through the end of this season. I have no idea if he comes in next season and he figures something out or he bulks up or he all of a sudden becomes an actual power hitter or if he becomes he's just this 2020 guy. And you know what? Bryce Terang being a 2020 guy or a 2030 guy, that's a great guy to have, especially when he's the best fielding second baseman in baseball.
Best WAR at second base now in the MLB, tied with Ketel Marte.
There you go. I mean,
not top 10 according to Shredder.
I mean, there are some people that you just can't teach stupid sometimes. But you look at the team and, looking at yesterday's lineup, Yelich is crushing the ball. He's just crushing it right at people. So if that evens itself out, Churio hit a homer yesterday. Frelick has not been hitting great. He's still at 294 for the year. He's still at 763 OPS for the year.
Big hit for Reese.
Big
hit for Reese.
Absolutely. Big hit for Danny Jansen.
Yeah.
He had a couple yesterday.
Yep.
I still don't know that I love him.
No, he won't. I don't know if he gets he won't get a start in the playoffs. He might get an at-bat against a lefty.
He might, but if Reese or Vaughn, if one of them's on the bench, they're off the bench before Danny is.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
I think at this point in the playoffs, he's your emergency catcher, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
He's not playing in the playoffs. I agree. But Vaughn's been hitting. I mean, I think I'm less worried about the offense. I know they didn't have a great series in Texas. I'm more worried about in the playoffs. You can't go out and give 3-4 runs. You got to give up 1 or 2 runs. And so can you count on whether it's Peralta or Woody or Miz or Quintana or Priester? And I still don't know who's going to start in the playoffs. I still don't
Freddie
know
will get game 1.
I guess, but if he gets game 1, you got 4 innings of bullpen work in game 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's why it's probably Ashby to come out after him.
Right.
They're hoping for 2. Right.
But then is it Quintana in game 2 just to give the other team that look of the fastball righty versus the soft throwing lefty and a lefty who can go 7?
No, I don't think that it matters at all
about
length out of
starting. He can't be on the roster.
I think that in the playoffs, starting pitching going sick, if you're not looking for them, Quintana's going out and giving you 6-7 innings right now,
right?
Because they need to get to October. Right. That is why Quintana is doing that.
Yep.
When you get to October, I think the Brewers are going to have that short leash approach with their starting pitching even more so, and they're going to rely on their bullpen way more in the postseason than they even have already throughout this entire season. They feel like they got to this point because of the bullpen this year. And I believe Miz is going to be added to that equation.
Right.
So I do think that the first men out of the pen, where we've seen it with Ashby and we've seen it with DL Hall, I think Miz gets thrown into that game plan. And it's really Jacob Mizorowski, apart from that Cubs game, a lot of the damage comes from second, third time through the order,
right,
as opposed to first time seeing him. So I think he could really excel in that role if he is a 2-inning first guy out of the pen type situation guy.
I agree with you that he could excel out of that role, but I worry about if he does that, does he then need 3 days off to recover? Because he's never done that before. And so that would be my concern with him. And listen, in a 5-game series or even in a 7-game
game
series,
1, game 4 type guy.
Right. Even 1, 4, and 7, if it ends up going that far, where it's not you don't have him for every game back to back. But that Ashby actually wants to pitch every day back-to-back, and he likes doing that, and you have the rest of the guys as well. 414-677-1250 is the Nikolai Law Fan Talk and Text line. 414-677-1250. Are you concerned about the way this Brewers team is playing right now? 15 games left. Season ends September 27th, 28th, 31st, something around then. The end of September, and then they are on pace to have one of those first two buys. Nothing is set in stone yet, though. The only thing set in stone is that the Rockies and the White Sox are eliminated.
Mhm.
That's literally all that is set
The
in stone.
Rockies have already lost 106 games.
That's a lot. I mean, how do you like
Suck that bad?
well, and how do you wake up and like, man, we're gonna suck again today? Like, I know how much I would have loved and died to play Major League Baseball. Like, it would have been absolutely the dream of my life. And I played JV baseball in high school, so I got that going for me. But I just like, man, that is such
Brutal.
absolute futility. It is. More Brewers talk coming up, and then we'll get back to Packers and the NFL talk in the 1:00 hour. Is this pitching staff good enough for the final 15 games to get them to where they need to be or want to be? And that's the 1 seed, or at least absolutely the 2nd seed. Are you worried about this team? And if you are, what worries you more specifically? The starting pitching, the relief pitching, or the hitting, the offense for this Milwaukee Brewers team? My name is Mitch Nellis. This is Middays with Thunder on the Fan at 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, the Fan. We're on the Odyssey app. We're on the iHeart app. We're on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. I'm waving. Wave back. It's Middays with Thunder. This is Middays with Thunder. I always wonder what people on YouTube think, like when I come back and I'm like doing some crazy dance.
You just take away the word dance, and that's what they think.
That I'm just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not wrong.
Right.
Tommy, do you ever hibachi?
Like as in, can I cook
No.
on a hibachi
Like, have
grill?
you gone out for hibachi?
I have gone out for hibachi,
Okay.
yes.
The Thunder family always goes out when Mrs. Thunder's out of town. Like that's like our tradition.
Nice.
Like, me and the daughters go. She doesn't love hibachi.
Okay.
It's not really her jam.
It's a fun time.
Yeah. So we crushed it last night. And all I can think about right now is getting home after the show and eating my leftovers. Like that's all. It's 12:52. It was lunchtime. But Samurai up in Glendale, good spot. They do a nice job with their hibachi.
I can echo your hunger and eagerness because it was like a buy one get one burrito situation at the restaurant that I like to go to. I don't even know.
Is it like a sit down or is it like you grab a burrito and go?
It's like a taco hut more than it is anything else.
Okay.
And the burrito's like very similar to a size of a chain Qdoba Chipotle type thing. Like you can't eat two of them,
right?
But
you can have one.
And then it was buy one get one. And it's like tomorrow I'm gonna get that.
Say
one.
less. You just made me two meals.
Yeah. So they do like a beef birria burrito. That's just my mouth's watering.
I'm a big birria fan.
It's delicious. It's delicious.
Absolutely wonderful. This is Middays with Thunder, 12:50 a.m., 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app. Remember, it's Green Bay and the Commanders tonight, week 2, in a week 2 matchup at Lambeau. After the game goes final, make the switch over to Sparky and Tommy here on the Green Bay football postgame show. It'll be on all the radios and all the internets and all the streamings and all the places where you find all of our fantastic family-friendly programming here on The Fan, because we are family here on The Fan. We will be there as well. Commanders and Packers, 7:15 kickoff tonight on Amazon Prime. And before you have a heart attack, it's also on Fox 6. Relax, everybody. I just like saying it's on Amazon Prime just to rile people up. Why? It's on an app. And that's my imitation of like when I get old. That's what I will sound like. There's no doubt in my mind that I will sit on a folding chair in my garage or on my front step watching the weather, complaining about all the things were like.
You're gonna have to download the weather app on your TV before you can actually watch the weather at that point.
What do you mean?
Like the weather's probably just going to be a subscription-based platform that you're
not even allowed to go outside and see what the weather is.
Like you're gonna have to
pay for it.
You got to subscribe to the weather to know what it feels like.
Speaking of how mad are WWE fans who have cut the cord, who now WWE pay-per-views are going to like ESPN, like the ESPN streaming, and they have to pay $29.99 a month for that.
Oh, it's not a Netflix thing anymore?
Raw is still on Netflix. SmackDown is on USA Network, but like the pay-per-views, the PLEs is what they call them now, I think are going on the ESPN app. I think that's what's happening. I don't know.
UFC struck a deal with, was it Paramount? I think it was.
Was it Paramount, not Peacock? Because I know that WWE was on Peacock. And they have the same owner now.
Pretty confident it's Paramount.
Okay. Paramount? Okay.
And because Paramount's pretty reasonably priced. I think it was like under $10 when I got it originally. So was
Peacock.
And now all their pay-per-views are just going to that, which I don't know if you knew the old situation with UFC pay-per-views where you had to be subscribed to ESPN Plus, right? So that was already like a $12, $13 a month thing, right? Then you had to pay $70 for the pay-per-view.
Oh.
Right.
But you
already were a part of the subscription.
That was the nice thing that WWE never did before this, is that once they went to a stream, they did not charge you on top.
No, it was an on top of charge. You had to subscribe and then pay after, which, I mean, costed Stream East everything in the end, but that was obviously why it was so popular.
This is Middays with Thunder. We're talking Brewers. Are you worried about the Brewers after the 3 losses in a row to the Texas Rangers? And that also means, right? Is that 4 losses in a row in general?
No, they swept the Pirates.
They swept the Pirates. That's right.
Yep.
I was thinking the Philly series. They swept the Pirates. So they do go 3-3 on the road.
Yep.
which is fine. Would have been really nice to just get one in Texas.
You would have felt
right?
like 2-1 in Pittsburgh and 1-2 in Texas would have been fine, right? But 3-3, where it's like you're beating up the crap teams, and then teams who are fighting for their playoff lives
so well against good teams.
Yeah,
like their record against teams that are currently in the playoffs is still like 31-19.
One of the best in the league. One of the best. They've done very well against division leaders across. I think every single division leader, they won more games than they lost in MLB this year. So
I think
got to give them something for that too, including sweeping the Dodgers, right? And 4-2 against the Phillies. Or they 5-1 against
4-2
4-2 against Phillies.
Played well against the Blue Jays in Toronto recently. So they played well, and I think sometimes you just have a bad weekend, and that happens.
I'm not even looking at the American League with this team. Like I am.
Right.
I'm
looking at them not in terms of but just like how you play against better teams.
Sure.
That,
Philly is worrying me.
Yeah.
Philly scares me.
Yeah.
Chicago doesn't scare me, but I'm scared to lose to Chicago. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And I think I feel the same way. Like I'm not scared of the Cubs. I think their pitching is deteriorating. I think it's falling apart.
Brewers do very well against their ace.
I think their hitters could get hot again, but Tucker's on the injured list now, and
kind of stinks now too.
Right. And I don't, their closer. I don't trust their closer. So I don't believe the Cubs are a great baseball team. I just don't want to lose to them because that will suck more than anything else on earth.
Correct.
That will be like a bucket of rotten eggs that you have to suck on for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that would be awful. Yeah. That's the worst case scenario. I think that's worse than losing in the World Series. Like, I think that losing to Chicago in any round of the playoffs is like the nightmare of the season.
I will agree with you about Philly. But what I will say about Philly is that I think when the Brewers pitchers are pitching their best, I'm not as worried about Philly. Like when they're throwing up, when Tobias Myers is pitching serious innings, and again, Chad Patrick or whoever are pitching serious innings against the Phillies, they're going to get into trouble. But I think when, if it comes to that, if that's the NLCS and you can line up Freddie, Woody, and Quintana, and Quintana just dominated by them, by the way. And he's not scared of them, right? Like he's a lefty facing Schwarber and Harper back to back, but he's not scared of that lineup. I think if you have your best, I'm not as scared as like if you are pitching mid relievers or mid starters against Philly, they're going to eat you up. They're going to absolutely eat you up. But if you have your best going, if you have Woody and Freddie and a Quintana, and then you got Miz out of the bullpen for 2 or 3 innings, you got Ashby on his game, and then you've got Uribe, Koenig, and McGill, like that is a pitching rotation, that is a pitching staff that I will go to battle with against the Phillies.
What about if the Brewers are the 2 seed versus the 1 seed?
Playing in Philly?
Nope.
Well,
round 1.
You're just saying round 1.
Because more than likely then
they're playing the Cubs.
Dodgers.
Well, no, the Dodgers are going to be the 3 seed. Oh yeah, 3-2. You're right. I don't know what to think about the Dodgers.
I know, but it's the Dodgers.
I know.
Team that knocked them out in 18, right?
But they also are not scared of the Dodgers.
No, I think the Brewers are a better team than the Dodgers too, but it is the Dodgers. And it's like the Dodgers are just built for postseason baseball.
I mean, Friesa, Peralta, Quintana winning those 3 games after the All-Star break, 2-0, 8-7, 6-5. And yeah, I mean, listen, 8-7 and 6-5 games could go either way. Even a 2-0 game could go either way. I think it's I fear the Dodgers because they're the Dodgers. I don't necessarily fear this year's team. But again, whenever you face a team with Snell and Glasnow and the starting pitchers they have, if they pitch shutouts, you're not going to win. Like, and that's true. That I feel more with LA than I feel Chicago or Philly. Like I know they got shut out last week by Philly, and Philly has 1, maybe 2 starters who can do that. But without Wheeler, I'm not really scared in a 7-game series of getting dominated by a pitching staff against Philly and Chicago like I am against LA. Because if LA's pitchers get hot, like they can get back to dominant. They're just not there right now. This is Middays with Thunder. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz. We are live on YouTube at The Fan Milwaukee, 1250 AM, 1057 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app. More coming up. Greg Bedard will join us in the 1 o'clock hour, and we'll talk more Green Bay Packers. If the Packers win tonight, what's your NFC power ranking? It's Middays with Thunder.
Lightning and the thunder.
But after all these years, I'm still scared of thunder.
It's time for Middays with Thunder with Mitch Nellis, broadcasting live from the 1250 AM and 1057 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Get on your white. That's right. Wear white to the game tonight. If you are on your way to the Packers game, wear white. You know who you look like? LeVar Burton from Star Trek The Next Generation.
I was gonna say, I was going for like Cyclops from X-Men, right?
Yeah, that would work too.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, whatever his name is. What was his name?
I don't know. I mixed like Gambit and all of them up together.
Right, yeah. No, it was Scott. He was with Gene Plum, who Wolverine also wanted to get with. You remember all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those X-Men before Marvel was Marvel, and they were just like doing like
those original X-Men movies.
Yes, totally agree. This is Middays with Thunder. Welcome into hour number 3. We are The Fan. We are 1250 AM. We are 105.7 FM, The Fan. We are on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. My name is Mitch Nellis, and fans attending the game tonight are reminded to wear white attire. So if you are in the car, turn around, go back home, and get your white sweatshirt. Let's go. Or just go up to Green Bay and buy some Packers. I assume they're selling, like, if they're smart, they're selling Packers like white sweatshirts and white t-shirts and some extra white gear tonight for the game. Packers are set to honor former wide receiver and Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee Sterling Sharp in a special ceremony at halftime of tonight's game. They are welcoming back featured alumni Perry Kemp and Ron Hallstrom. Chris Jackie, Jarrett Bush, and George Kuntz also expected to be there. And it is Dan Quinn's 55th birthday. Will the Green Bay Packers fans sing happy birthday to Dan Quinn? I mean, there's not a chance. But let's say the Packers are up like 31-17 at the end of the game, and the Packers are taking a knee. Wouldn't it be funny if like Micah Parsons got everyone to sing happy birthday to Dan? I mean, I'm sure Dan Quinn, if that happened, Dan Quinn would be in no mood to have people sing happy birthday to him. But that would be hilarious if Micah Parsons just grabbed the mic after the game and got everybody to sing happy birthday to Dan Quinn. That would be absolutely hilarious. We are getting into Packers talk, and Greg Bedard's going to join us in the next segment. But I did have a couple responses that I wanted to read about those of you who are worried about the Milwaukee Brewers. Joe writes in, pitching in general, throw strikes and get outs. And I think that is something that we have seen become an issue for our Milwaukee Brewers pitching staff, is the nibbling. And I know Pat Murphy he loves nibbling on pocket pancakes, but he hates nibbling around the strike zone. And he does not want to see walks. He does not want to see nibbling.
But
you
also
can't just pound the strike zone.
But he also doesn't care with Quintana.
Right.
Because out of respect, not that he doesn't care.
Quintana's earned it.
Right.
Chad Patrick has not.
Right. Tobias Myers has not.
Right. Tobias Myers,
yes.
A great example, has not. Most of the bullpen has not. And so Eric Fetty, even though he's a veteran, has not.
He's still on this team.
He pitched yesterday.
I know. Like, just where does he pops in?
I assume he's gone when Gasser comes up. Or is there, I mean, there's 15 games left. Is Gasser even coming up?
I'm losing faith in Gasser is on this team.
Or are they like saving him as a truly secret weapon to just explode in the playoffs?
The Brandon Woodruff to the Wade Miley.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just like that's how they use it. I have no idea. This is Middays with Thunder. Andy writes in, hitting. You can't score early and then just go cold. It's a bad trend, and it is exactly what they do in the playoffs. And we have seen that. Obviously, we saw that yesterday. They start the game with back-to-back jacks, which was absolutely awesome. I lost my brain. I was screaming into my microphone at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Terang and Shurio go back-to-back, and Yelich almost made it back-to-back, which would have been absolutely unbelievable. But they can't do that and then high five and go crazy and have fun and then just go cold. Like, they got to keep the key to this Brewers team is that they make you play baseball. They play baseball for 27 outs. Well, you can't get an early lead and then give away some outs. And I know they don't do it on purpose, but whatever it is, they got to figure out a way to keep that focus just going a little little bit. They just got to, just a little bit. They got to keep that going. Speaking of focus, the focus is our Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Football Postgame Show will be here with Sparky and Tommy after the game tonight. Everybody should be listening to that. The Packers and Commanders, 7:15 tonight on Amazon Prime and on Fox 6 here in the Milwaukee area. Can't wait for that. And so my question with regards to tonight, and Tommy, if I'm jinxing things or if I'm jumping the gun, you can just let me know real quick and I will switch gears right away. Because my question starts if the Packers win tonight. Do we not even want to go there? Like, do we want to wait till tomorrow to talk about what actually happens tonight, as opposed to, like, if the Packers win tonight, are they clearly the best team in the NFC? Are they the clear number 2? Are they, like, where do they rank in the, do we even want to talk about that, or am I jinxing things?
I think that regardless of the outcome of this game,
Irregardless. No, you're right. It's regardless. See, you know what you're talking about. Don't trust me.
They will still be considered that way. One of the top teams in the NFC, regardless.
Unless they get blown out, which I don't think any of us see.
Sure, if they lose 50-0,
right.
Yeah. But even if they lose by 10,
okay,
31-21, like, I don't even think you can. You see what this Packer team can be at full strength, full potential.
right. But if they lose, Tommy, they're considered one of the best teams in the NFC. If they win, could they be considered the best team in the NFC? Could they be considered the best team in the NFC?
I think they were the most impressive team in week 1 already.
I agree with that. I'd agree.
So
I agree.
I think, yes, they are. Yeah.
Okay.
If they were already considered one of the most impressive performances to start the season, then yes, sure.
414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Fan talk and text line. You can give us a call or you can shoot us a text with your thoughts. 414-677-1250. If the Packers win tonight, are they the clear number 1 in the NFC, or is Philly still the 1 and they're the clear number 2 in the NFC, or do they still have more to prove down the road, especially as we know 5 of the last 7 games for the Green Bay Packers are within the division, and the other 2 are against Denver and Baltimore, which are going to be tough games as well. That final 7 games is going to be absolutely brutal. The Packers need to do as much damage to their schedule early as they get ready for that. 414-677-1250, your opportunity to be a part of the show right now as your thoughts on tonight's game. You can also give your thoughts, just your predictions for tonight. Your prediction for tonight. What's going to happen tonight? Do you think the Packers win? Do they win by 7? Do they cover? Right now, as we look at our friends at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, the Green Bay Packers are 3-point favorites over the Washington Commanders. They started the day at 3.5, which means some money has come in on Washington. The over-under is 48.5. The money line -182 for the Packers, +150 for the Washington Commanders. Just what's your, you got a score prediction? Throw it in the text. Throw it in the text line. Throw it in the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. Just throw us your score, so we can get a feel for what people think the score is going to be of our Green Bay Packers game tonight. 262 writes in talking about the Brewer. Back to that Brewers conversation. It's Brewers baseball in September. The curse of bad ball is back this month. Oof, I don't like that at all. That doesn't make me feel good at all. You look at the Brewers in September, and we're only at the 11th, so we've only had 10 days in September. 1-1. Let's see, 1-2, 4-2. They're 4-5 in the month of September. So it's they've played 9 games. They are I would argue 4-5. You're a 500 team, and we're looking, if the Brewers go 7-8 the rest of the way, then Chicago has to go 13-3 to catch them. I think the Brewers can go better than 7-8. I also think the Cubs could go worse than 13-3. So I'm not very worried about the division. When I look at the National League in general, Philly's only 2.5 back. They're only 2 back in the loss column. That worries me a little bit more. So we will keep our eye on that. Again, it's a whiteout tonight at Lambeau, so everybody should be wearing white. If the Packers win tonight, and what is your predicted score? What's your predicted score for the Packers game tonight? You can just throw it in the text line. You don't have to sign it. You don't have to take credit for it unless you want your name attached to it. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Your predicted score, you can throw it right up there in the text line. And then if the Packers do win, are they the clear best team in the NFC? Or do you believe they're still behind Philly, still more to prove? Or do you kind of want to, like I kind of want to wait and see what Philly does with Kansas City on Sunday? Because if that's a close game, or if Kansas City wins, then I will crown the Packers after week 2. Remember, nobody gets crowned after week 2, so none of this really matters. Who's the best team in the NFL in September? But it just feels good. Just feels good when your team is the best team in the league. That just feels good. Greg Bedard, Boston Sports Journal, national writer for the NFL, former writer for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. He will join us next here on Middays with Thunder. We'll get, again, that 30,000-foot view of our Green Bay Packers, and we'll go around the NFL and talk about some of the different teams, what he saw after week 1 and what he expects to see coming up this season in the NFL. My name is Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. It's Middays with Thunder right here, 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app. We are live on YouTube at The Fan Milwaukee, live right now on YouTube at The Fan Milwaukee. This is Middays with Thunder. I'm Mitch Nellis. 1250 AM, 1057 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey, iHeart apps. And if you're streaming or if you're listening at any other point during the day and you come back to look for a segment, you can also find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just open up your app, search Middays with Thunder, search The Mason Crosby Show, search Packet A Radio, search Wisconsin Sports Daily. Hit the follow button. You know you want to smash that follow button, and you'll get every minute of the show your way and on your time. Packers and Commanders, Thursday night football tonight, just under 6 hours away at Lambeau. And joining us now from the Boston Sports Journal, but longtime Milwaukee Journal Sentinel beat reporter for our Green Bay Packers, Mr. Greg Bedard. Greg, how are you today, my friend?
Thunder, how we doing?
We are doing really well, and I'll be honest. Like there's an electricity in the air. There's an excitement in the air. What have you Well, before we get to all that excitement and all the fans and stuff like that, what was your original reaction when you heard about the Micah Parsons trade to Green Bay?
I think my immediate reaction, and actually I texted a couple of people who used to be in the Packers front office, like back in the day.
Sure.
I said that I just wondered what Ted Thompson's reaction would have been had they brought that trade to him.
Thanks, but no thanks.
I wonder how quickly he could have said no.
Right. Thanks, but no thanks, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing was like back then, so this is like, we're talking like 2007 when I covered the team to like 2010. They had guys like Elliot Wolf and Alonzo Highsmith and others who both of them are here in New England right now.
Oh, nice.
Who would go out and cook up a lot of these deals and bring them to Ted. And as we all know, Ted was just, we'll keep our draft picks, draft, develop, like all that stuff. But I was psyched for Packers fans. I thought it was a great deal for them. I thought it was the right time. There's a lot of people in New England who are like, should they have done that deal? Could they have done that deal? And it's just like, no, they're not in the right spot. Like this is a rebuilding team. This is a team that needs all their draft picks, needs to hit on their draft picks, that has no depth. Whereas the Packers have, done a good job of drafting, developing, like adding key pieces, like in free agency, like, Xavier McKinney,
sure,
Josh Jacobs, sort of finishing touches to a roster, because you're not going to be perfect in terms of your roster building. And I just think Micah Parsons, I've always loved him. I wanted the Patriots to draft him when he came out.
Yep.
And I just think he's the closest thing to Lawrence Taylor that we've seen. And I can't wait to see what Halfley does with him as the season goes on.
Greg Bedard joining us here on Middays with Thunder. Follow him on Twitter at Greg A. Bedard, a longtime NFL beat reporter for a number of different teams, now working in Boston with the Boston, the founder and editorial director of the Boston Sports Journal there in Boston. And then I always ask about Jordan Love as well. And because I think the national view on Micah Parsons certainly is that he's a freak and he's unbelievable. And it's a great deal for the Packers. But there's always mixed reviews on how much people like or how much people are bought into Jordan Love as a franchise quarterback. What are your thoughts on Jordan Love?
I think my overarching thought on him is the kid is talented. He was raw coming out. I loved the plan that they had for him. In terms of sitting him, it's something that I would have done with Drake May, a little bit more. Mm-hmm. To me, it's just I just don't have enough data, to go on, because it's just 2 seasons, and I think he should be coming into his own. I think that they have a good team. I think he's got a really good coordinator and play caller in LaFleur, and I think he has a really good surrounding cast. Some of the receivers and such are a little green, and they have a lot to prove.
Sure. And
it seems like they're always dealing with some sort of injuries in that group. But I think his time is now. I think he's ascending, and he got off to a great start last week.
And then on the other side of the ball tonight, Jaden Daniels entering his second year, working very hard, I'm sure, to avoid any sort of sophomore slump. When you watch him, what do you see from him, and how good do you think he can be?
Yeah, I think he's outstanding. To me, the only possible drawback for him that would keep him from being one of the better quarterbacks in this league, because he's great from the pocket. He's great on the run. It's just his build and possible injury issues the more he plays. But I think he's outstanding. They've done a good job of surrounding him with some pieces to help him along. I mean, to me, what was going to be interesting for me tonight, Mitch, to watch, and I'm excited to watch this game. I don't. Where is the game being played? I didn't even look.
It's at Lambeau.
It's at Lambeau. What's the line?
Packers are favored by 3. It actually was
wow,
3.5. It was 3.5 this morning, and it went down to 3 during my show. Because Potawatomi has a sports book now, so they have all their live odds. And so when we started the show today, it was 3.5, and it's down to 3. So there must have been some money coming in on Washington during the day today.
That's interesting. I know the Commanders got off to a really good start against the Giants team that I don't know how good they are.
Right.
But the Patriots actually had a joint practice with the Commanders in the preseason, and it was sort of that joint practice was probably the high watermark for Drake May and their offense this offseason.
Yep.
I did not think much of the Washington defense at all. They have some good defensive interior guys,
and they got some
the
big
linebackers.
Names. They got some big names.
Pardon?
They have some big names there.
Yeah, I mean, Deron Payne, Javon Kinlaw, Eddie Goldman, who of course used to be with the Bears. They've got some good players, but I don't think they have much on the edge.
Okay.
Von Miller, when he was here, he looks a shadow of his old self. Dietrich Wise is a guy who used to play a long-time Patriot. He's long in the tooth. I don't think they have much of a pass rush. If you could take care of the interior guys, I do not like their secondary. The Patriots sort of ripped through them, and we didn't really see that the rest of the summer. When they faced the Vikings, namely in 2 joint practices and a preseason game. So, I like the Packers a lot in this game, but Jaden Daniels is one of these guys that can sort of even the playing field very quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a bit of an equalizer, no doubt about it. Greg Bedard joining us here on The Fan. Follow him on Twitter at Greg A. Bedard. Go to bostonsportsjournal.com for all the great stuff that he's working on as well. And my question, you said you like the Packers tonight, and I guess my follow-up to that is, whichever team ends up winning tonight, do you think they have a claim to challenge the Eagles? Like, could they, depending on how the game goes tonight, whoever goes 2-0, whoever wins this game, can they say, can they fully say we are a force to be reckoned with in the NFC?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that the Parsons deal, to me, raised the Packers up a level to, the Eagles, but they are pretty damn good, and we're going to need to see, some of these teams that played them last year, whether they can, adjust and, force to play the Eagles uncomfortable, because they've been very comfortable the past couple of years. But I do think, I think the Packers already have a legitimate shot to, possibly be up there with the Eagles in the NFC. In fact, I think I picked the Packers to face them in the NFC Championship game. So, I like the Packers prospects a lot.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit and go around the NFL. As a native Bostonian, I might have been wearing my red and blue glasses, but I really did think the Patriots were going to be okay against the Raiders last weekend. What went wrong for the Patriots?
I think, and I picked the Raiders before that game. I think a lot of Geno Smith.
You should have. I even on the air, like, that was my pick of the week. I picked the Patriots.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot, but that's okay. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I was one of these guys that, I'm a big Vrabel fan. I'm a big fan of Josh McDaniels. I'm a big fan of this coaching staff. And actually, when their schedule came out, I picked them for 11 wins. Okay. And then I saw them all summer.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was still high on them after the Washington joint practice, but sort of after that, the second day, the Vikings had their way with them. Drake May was good in the joint practices. He was not good in either of the preseason games. And, really what we saw on Sunday was indicative of that. The Patriots just are not very deep at all. If they get any sort of major injuries, they're screwed because of how bad their drafting has been. Drake May, it's going to take time with him and Josh McDaniels and to get him settled down. He has not played a lot of football in his career, even going back to high school because of COVID. He wasn't one of these guys like J.J. McCarthy that transferred to IMG Academy in Florida, so he didn't have to deal with COVID rules. Drake just sat out his senior year in high school and redshirted in North Carolina, played 2 years there, started 10 games last year for the Patriots. So he's very, very young. He's a puppy. And it's going to take time. He was a bit erratic in that game. They could not run the ball at all, which was a huge surprise. And then on defense, they have concerns about whether they can get pressure with 4, even though they've invested a ton on that defensive line. And they ended up blitzing all the time, and Geno Smith just kept burning them. I mean, they gave up 9 pass plays of 20 or more yards, which was the most in franchise in like 13 years.
That's rough.
So
that's rough.
It was just, but they were still somewhat close. Drake May hits a few of the bunnies that he missed. They're right in it. And so I think it was just really overall, it was the newness of everything. They just need to get a few more games under their belt, get settled down. I think they'll be all right.
Watching Sunday Night Football with the Bills and the Ravens this past week, and it just seems like when the Bills, the Ravens, or the Chiefs, whenever those 3 teams play each other, crazy happens. Like what do you have a feel for this year for the top of the AFC? And I am on record as saying I think this might be the year that the Chiefs start really falling off. And I could be totally wrong because the Chiefs have proven us wrong numerous times before. But I just feel like crazy things happen when those 3 teams play, and we saw it again last Sunday night.
Yeah, really, I think they're all going to be there. It might look a little bit different for the Chiefs this year. It seems they're always trying to figure things out at wide receiver.
Yeah,
Spagnuolo will be fine with the defense. The Ravens are really good, but find a way to blow a lot of these games, which they did. The Bills
just find a way.
Yeah, the Bills are really good offensively. I have a lot of questions about their defense. Really, it's going to be, who's healthy at the end of the season? How are they playing at that time? And, it could be any number of different teams that come out of the AFC this year.
Got it. And then I got to ask, because you know about this guy, 49ers, looks like Purdy's not going to play. Old friend of Mac Jones would be their starting quarterback. How much trouble are the 49ers in if Mac Jones has to start multiple weeks?
I have been a Mac Jones fan in the past. I thought that really his career went sideways because of Bill Belichick and the decisions that he made as far as coaching and personnel and things like that, and including having Matt Patricia as his offensive coordinator and offensive line coach. But I've kept close tabs on Mac because he was supposed to be the next franchise quarterback here. I watched him last year in Jacksonville.
Yep.
Wasn't great. Really it's about it. Kyle Shanahan always wanted Mac Jones, and he's his type of quarterback that can execute this. I think it's a little early for him, but with Mac, a key is going to be he's going to have to keep a good base. He can't get gun shy in the pocket, which the Patriots experience has given him that sort of hangover. But it'd be nice if he had George Kittle. He will not. So I think it's going to be a tough chore for Mac, but I'm rooting for him.
Nice. Greg Bedard joining us here on The Fan. Follow him on Twitter at Greg A. Bedard. Find all his stuff at Boston Sports Journal. And I got to ask, because you mentioned him, how close of an eye are you keeping an eye on Chapel Hill these days? It's nothing if not entertaining. And there are those in the national media who are starting to say that Belichick may never have been that good, and that it was the team, or it was Brady, or it was Kraft, or whatever. What are your thoughts on Belichick these days?
My thoughts on Bill.
As a football
Yeah.
coach, not as a person.
Yeah, I mean, I still think very highly of him. I just don't know where he's at. I mean, the whole Jordan Hudson stuff, his feud with the Crafts,
Yeah.
banning the scouts. It's
Right.
just like,
So
where is
weird.
his head at these days? I don't know, but yes, it will be entertaining.
Yeah, and it already has been. How does it end? How does it? Is he there through the end of this year? Does he leave during the year? Is he there for 5 more years? Where does this go?
It's a great question. I would say I don't think he's ever getting back into the NFL. Sort of the way he's conducted himself, I don't see that happening. So, 2 or 3 years probably down there, but a lot of it's going to depend on how this season goes and like does it look good enough. And they do have a pretty easy schedule in the ACC because they don't play Miami, they don't play Florida State.
Right.
Clemson's the only ACC quote unquote power that they play the rest of the year. So the schedule is set up for them. It's like, sort of like him being back in the old AFC East where, it should be kind of a cakewalk, but can he make it look good enough where he can get some momentum in the next year, get some recruits and things like that to come in and help them develop more talent? But I definitely have my questions about that.
All right, Greg, thank you so much for jumping on today. Follow him on Twitter at Greg A. Bedard. Find all his stuff at bostonsportsjournal.com. That's bostonsportsjournal.com. Greg, again, thank you so much, and we'll definitely talk to you down the road.
Sounds good. Thanks, bud.
All right, thanks, man. That's Greg Bedard, longtime Packers beat reporter, now based in New England, covering the Patriots and the National Football League in general. He joined us on the fan guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. I see we've got a bunch of predictions coming in on the talk and text line, on the Nicolay Law Fan talk and text line, 414-677-1250. So we'll get to some of those predictions when we come back. If you miss any part of today's show, you can listen anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Middays with Thunder on your favorite app, hit the follow button, and you can watch up on every episode, every hour, every highlight, whenever works for you. Make sure to tune in after the game tonight. You'll make the switch to the Green Bay Football Postgame Show. It's Sparky and Tommy on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan. My name is Mitch Nellis. This is Middays with Thunder. We're in the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, where we broadcasted live from yesterday. Again, our thanks to everybody over there at the Sportsbook. Jay, Aaron, Austin, Luis, everybody is absolutely great, and can't wait to get there again and eat my face off again. I think Saturday evening actually might be calling me. The poker room said, well, as I walked by yesterday, the poker room was like, "Hey, Mitch, why don't you come in for a second?" And I said, "I can't really today, but I might see you on Saturday." And the poker room said, "All right, see you Saturday." That's all I got for you. This is Middays with Thunder. This is Middays with Thunder on 1250 AM, 1057 FM. We are the fan. We are the voice of the fan. We are family here. We want you to be a part of the family. You can text us 414-677-1250. You can call us. You can tweet at us at the Fan Milwaukee, at Thunder MKE. You can find us on Facebook as well, at the Fan Milwaukee, at Thunder MKE, or at Mitch Nellis. They all work. They all get to us, and we will read your messages. Like we have a number of messages in our text box because we did ask for your predictions, and people are starting to throw in their predictions for tonight's game. Before we get to those, again, thank you to Greg Bedard for jumping on the fan guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Let's go out to the Nicolay Law fan talking text line, and that is Big Joe's in Stoughton. Big Joe, how are you, my friend?
Mitch Nellis, long time, my friend. It's great to hear your voice. Good to talk to you, man. How are you been?
I've been great. It is also great to hear your voice. And what's new and cracking in Stoughton?
Not much, man. Just been busy. Amazon's treating me well, so you knew that.
Love
Two-year sobriety for me, buddy. So
Let's
I don't
go.
drink anymore.
Let's go.
So I'm doing awesome.
I love
I've
it.
lost 35 pounds, so I've been doing the diet
no
thing.
surprise. I mean, you're on top of things. So what?
Well, you've always told me to live the dream, my friend. I mean, sorry, I don't know if I can say that I'm these airways, but you've always told me that.
No, we're all living the dream. All right. So what's on your mind today?
All right, buddy, I'm going to start with these. I saw a couple of your questions. So first things first, I'll start with the Packers.
Yep.
Give me 27-20 Packers tonight, buddy.
All right, 27-20. I'm writing it down.
I think they're going to double team Micah, but the thing is, I think it opens up for Gary and it opens up for some of the other guys, and I think they'll take advantage of it.
Nice. I like it. What else you got for me, Big Joe?
Badgers are going to lose by 30, though. They're going to get rolled by Bama. I'm on the fire.
I think you're right.
I'm on the fire fickle train there, Thunder.
I'm not on that train yet, but I'm not on that train. I'm like watching the train. I have a foot on the train. I'm not sure if I'm getting on. I might just go for one stop and then get off. I haven't fully committed to that train, but I also haven't fully committed to not being on that train either.
The only thing is, though, and I agree with a lot of people, the buyout with him, though, is just insane, man. Like,
yeah, but the buyout with everybody these days is insane, and there's always a big booster who can cover that buyout. So I'm not too worried about. The only buyout I'm worried about is DeBoer in Alabama. His is the most insane.
I've heard that's insane.
Yep.
I don't know the exact number, but
60 million, I think.
Wow.
I would if I was Kalen DeBoer, I would tank the season on purpose, get fired, and never work again. Come on, bro, $60 million.
I was going to say, I just won $25 on the Mega Mill the other night. So
Mazel tov, congrats, Joe. That's a big win. $25. Right. That's real.
Brewers, I'm not too worried, Thunder. I mean,
Good.
The pitching right now has been hit or miss, but they're going to be all right. I'm not too worried. You know, it's towards the end of the year. Hopefully, we can get some guys healthy. Yep. Bottom line, I don't want to lose in the playoffs. I hope that we can make a better run than just, making it and then, taking our consolation prize and being done with the year.
Right. Win a series, right? You want to win a series.
Yes. That's kind of how I feel with the Bucks. I feel that too. It's just like
same.
It's just like, can we finally win a series? But I don't know. With Giannis still, I'm happy. With Miles Turner, I'm happy. At the same time, it's just like, is Doc Rivers really the answer? I mean, this isn't Boston anymore.
I know.
His style's just gotten so predictable.
Yeah, we will talk a lot of Bucks this fall, but you're right on with your Bucks take and your Brewers take. Big Joe, don't be a stranger. Great to hear from you, my friend.
Thunder, I will keep in touch. All right, buddy?
I love it. That's Big Joe. He drops off the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. You can jump on 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. We've got a number of texts in the text line with predictions of the score. Justin in the village of Waukesha. Justin says Packers 38, Commanders 35. It's a big win. Hybrid with a big D. I'm not sure if that was a typo or if he really is hybrid with a big D. 27-17 Packers win. It's funny. You do this poll in Wisconsin and everybody's picking the Packers. I kind of like it. And of course, our Washington Commanders reporter picked the Commanders to win 24-20 because that's how it works. All right. The 262, he doesn't write a name in, but he's got Packers 31, Redskins 9. I love the man they call Meathead. For those of you who don't know who Meathead is, Meathead and I hosted a fantasy football show 100 years ago. It was me and Meathead and Cause, Frank, and the Wildcat, Bill Evans. The four of us used to host Fantasy Sports Weekly or Fantasy Football Weekly, I think it was, before it was like Saturday mornings back in the day, 100 years ago. Well, he's got the Packers 74, Redskins -5. I think he's feeling pretty good about pretty good about that. Tony in Pewaukee, he's got Packers 31, Commanders 17. He's got Parsons with 2.5 sacks. He's got a 0.5 sack for Van Ness. He's got 1 sack for Gary. That would equal the 4 that we had. Do we have 4.5 as the over-under, Tommy, on the Mason Crosby show? Did we say over-under 4 or 4.5?
For sacks?
Yeah, for sacks. For
3.5 between those
3.5.
three,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
So Tony
4 or more.
So
for
Tony's
those 3.
taking the over because he's got 2.5 for Parsons, 0.5 for Van Ness, and 1 for Gary. He's got 2 picks off of Jaden Daniels, but that Daniels still rushes for 60 yards. I think that's like absolutely accurate. Like Jaden Daniels, that's what he does. Like he might throw a pick or 2. He's going to run for 60 yards. The question is he, are his rushes on first down, are they 3rd and long that extends series? And also, do they keep the Commanders, do they keep the Commanders out of the end zone? And then Scott in Glendale has the Packers winning 23-13. He's got a little bit of a lower score. And then 2-6. Yeah, I know what I said when I was saying the hybrid name, buddy. Don't worry about it. 262. Don't worry. I know where we were going there. So we've got a number. Everybody's got the Packers, which I think is great. I love that enthusiasm. I love that confidence. I kind of want to caution everybody as we wind things up here on this game day, Middays with Thunder. I want to caution everybody that there's a reason the Packers are favored by 3. And it's great that looking at all of our predictions, Packers by 7, Packers by 3, Packers by 10, Packers by 22, Packers by 14, Packers by 10. Like all that, those are all great. And I love it. And I'm here for it. And I enjoy it. But there's a reason the city in the desert exists. There's a reason why when you walk into Potawatomi Casino Hotel, it is as impressive as it is. They build one hotel, they do well, they build a whole nother tower, they build out a sports book, they just build a beautiful facility there. These buildings exist because people are not always the most intelligent. Let's just say that. And while I'm super encouraged and excited that all of our fans here and all of our family here on the Fan are picking the Packers to win, let's just pump the brakes a little bit, because the Packers are only 3-point favorites. As we know, I'm checking right now, and I'm hitting reload on the site, even though it reloads by itself. The Packers are 3-point favorites over the Washington Commanders. So the Packers are favored to win. Absolutely. No one debates that. No one argues that. But it's supposed to be a close game. It's supposed to be a bit of a nail biter. It's supposed to be a tough game. And so let's just remember, as confident as we are, that the city in the desert and all of our friendly hometown casinos, and especially our Potawatomi Casino and Hotel, there's a reason they exist. They don't exist to get to lose money. I'll just say that. But they do a great job, and especially our friends at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The food's great. They're great, and it's just a lot of fun. Tommy, how you feeling, buddy?
Feeling about the Packers?
Yeah, just in general, man. How you feeling?
Packers, feeling good about the Packers today.
Okay.
Feeling good. I think I'm confident.
I'm asking everybody to be confident, but not overconfident.
No, I'm overconfident. I'm all in.
I kind of am too.
Yeah, I'm all in.
I just did this whole 2-minute soliloquy about don't be overconfident. And man, I buy the Packers tonight. I think the Packers win tonight. And because we just had Greg Bedard on talking about the Bills the Chiefs, and the Ravens, and they all have holes.
Mitch,
And the Packers are better than all of them right now.
what did I tell you? Believe, right?
Yeah.
Just get your heart broken
No,
later.
you told me to send them home.
Believe, get your heart broken later.
Okay.
That's what I said when
Yeah,
Micah
you did.
Parsons
I know-
rumors were
I know,
going
That's
around.
what you told me. You were crazy.
It's what I feel about the game against the Commanders, how I feel about the Brewers this
Unbelievable.
season, how I feel about the Pack. Just believe, and then get your heart broken later if that's what's going to happen.
If you're
But for
on
now,
your-
believe.
If you're on your way up to Green Bay, you're probably already on your way or you're about to leave. Remember, fans are reminded to wear white attire tonight to the Packers game. So go ahead and do that. And after the game goes final, make the switch to the Green Bay football post-game show with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan. That's with Sparky and with Tommy right here on The Fan. And you can listen on 1250 AM. And you can listen on 105.7 FM, The Fan. And you can listen on the Odyssey app. And you can listen on thefanmilwaukee.com. You can listen on the iHeart app. You can also listen on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/@thefanmilwaukee, have the @ sign in there, @thefanmilwaukee. Tommy, you know what's funny? I don't even remember what my predicted score was. 24-17, I think?
Yep, and I was
20
31-21.
And you were 31-21. I was 24-17. Go Pack Go. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Coming up next with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer and the Gentle Giant, who is in the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook right now. Say hi, Charlie. Hi. That was Charlie, if you could hear him in the background. I don't know if you could. He is the Gentle Giant. My name is Mitch Nellis. You've been listening to Middays with Thunder. Man, I hope it's a fun show. I hope it's a happy show tomorrow. Come on, everybody. Be happy. But while you're be happy, remember, everyone, please lead with kindness. Please find a way for patience. Please find a way for understanding. On all days of September 11th, and with what this country is going through right now, let's all find a way to lead with kindness and be there for each other and have each other's backs and realize, like Chris Gizzy said on the Mason Crosby show, sports, the greatest common denominator we have more in common than we think. My name is Mitch Nellis. This has been Middays with Thunder on 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app.